I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. When people hear the word Baltimore, you think wire, you think of tough to make it out, you think of drugs, you think of you think of Baltimore, you think yo, it's super tough. So I guess my story may be a little bit different than that. When I was born, I lived in the suburbs. So I was in Baltimore County. If you're from the county and you go in the city, they joke you for living in the county. Yeah. But I played basketball in the city, so and I was dominating. And then, you go to the city, them niggas out there, it's a whole different atmosphere. And when I was playing in the county, my dad was like, "You're destroying this. I'm gonna take you to the inner city to show you a different side of basketball, because you only know what you're exposed to." So I'm thinking oh, this is basketball.
Let's flat out. Big teams, big boys, right?
My highs and lows, inherit growth, Mr. Deeds. Went from juggling 3 jobs to CEO like I'm Steve. Never been a rotten apple, call me John Appleseed. That's how I bleed. God can see, no other man can judge me. Call him Mike, Mr. International, getting cream. Single mother told me worth, and now I'm worth everything. Went from Wall Street to Abu Dhabi, straight rolling in a Maserati with women that feel exotic. My life too pristine.
Man, you didn't have to do them like that, man. You didn't have to do them like that.
It was film day.
Yeah.
We gotta make a statement.
Exactly. We gotta make a statement. What's
going on, man?
Flat out.
Welcome back to another Miami edition of the Last Fight Out podcast. We're your hosts, Mike and Jay. Give us a like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, or give us a follow across all our social media accounts at Last Fight Out Podcast. In case you've forgotten, I'm your host, Jay. You can follow me at JLubriel26, and you can follow my man, Mike, at
If Mike Was Here. So today's a very special episode. We're here in Miami, and this was special to me because, we met a few years ago, and I want to capture his story. It hasn't been told a lot. But someone as myself, I played basketball. I seen him play throughout the years, and then I seen his transition after basketball. Please let me welcome. He was named to the All-ACC first team back-to-back seasons. Also, All-Academic team for 3 seasons. He started off in college at Siena, and then made his way to Miami on full scholarship. Also, he transitioned after basketball to become the CEO and founder of Active Dreamers, as well as he's drafted into the NBA 2009 to the San Antonio Spurs. Please welcome Jack McClinton.
Thanks for coming on the show, Jack, man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming down.
Yeah,
appreciate you coming. We usually start off with a word association. So the first thing that comes to your mind when I say Dreamers, what do you think of?
Active.
It's pretty good.
All right.
Sure.
All right. Now, before we get into your highlights, you was a prolific scorer in college, as well as your jersey was retired. You also got inducted to the University of Miami Sports Hall of Fame. Please let us know how it started, because it always wasn't easy for you.
Right.
Let's take it back to Baltimore, Maryland, high school. What is that like?
Yeah, it's for me, I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. When people hear the word Baltimore, you think wire, you think of
crab cakes.
You think crab cakes, you think of tough to make it out, you think of drugs, you think of you think of Baltimore, you think yo, it's super tough. Obviously, Baltimore has that side, and I think that molds a lot of people that are from Baltimore. So I guess my story may be a little bit different than that. My parents moved to Baltimore, and they lived in the inner city. Okay. But I was in my mom's stomach when they were in the inner city. So I never really got the real Baltimore in the hood, drugs and stuff like that. Yeah. So when I was born, I lived in the suburbs.
Oh,
So nice. I was in Baltimore County.
Okay.
You know what I mean? At that time, it's Baltimore County. If you're from the county and you go in the city, they joke you for living in the county.
Yeah.
But I played basketball in the city. So you grow up in the county, you play basketball in the county, and I was dominating. You playing against white kids and Asian kids. No, I'm not there's no racism, but I'm just letting you know the truth so you can understand.
Yeah.
And then, you go to the city, them niggas out there, boy. they hungry, they ready. Yeah. It's a whole different atmosphere. And when I was playing the county, my dad was like, Jack, you're destroying this. You're killing right now. I'm gonna take you to the inner city to show you a different side of basketball, because you only know what you're exposed to. So I'm thinking oh, this is basketball.
Right.
Nice gym, AC, everybody got jerseys, everybody got shoes or whatever. I remember the first time we went down to the city to play. I think I might have been like 7 years old, 8 years old. Shout out my rec center, Cecil Kirk. Our gym was called the Chicken Box. Chicken Box, if anybody knows from Baltimore, that's like the famous like food. A chicken box is chicken, French fries, salt, pepper, ketchup, hot sauce.
Yeah.
Shake that joint up, that's a chicken box. That motherfucker hot, blazing, tongue hot. The gym, same shit. It felt like you was playing the low ass box. It was hot, blazing, and players is on the walls. Like you got a little bunch of 6 to 8 year olds on the wall.
Yeah.
And you playing for your life. Like it's just like, it was a totally different. I'm used to going to the gym. You got bleachers, you got parents in the stands.
Yeah.
You know, they're cheering you on. You know, you got little Mikey and John over here.
Yeah.
Down Cesar Kirk, it's different. Ain't no parents in there.
Yeah.
It's too hot.
Yeah.
Ain't no bleachers. It's just the wall.
Yeah.
It ain't little John's, DeAndre, little Mackie, Big Tank. Like everything is like it's like a rude away. It's very different, right?
Now, just so I can,
Right.
was there like trash talking at in the county? Was there was it really respectful? How was the dynamics between the players?
There was no such thing. It's
Okay,
like,
so when
you're
you got-
taught to respect your opponent.
Okay,
like
and then
you
when
don't do that. You don't say that to him.
Shake his hand, you know what
So
I mean?
you wasn't exposed to this before you got to this. So when you
Hell
guys are in
no.
the inner city, kids are talking trash to you.
Bro, and the crazy part, they talk trash if you got clean shoes on.
Like, yo, you got no holes in them.
Oh man, hello, bitch ass, you ain't got no dirt in your shoes. Like, damn, I didn't know. Then like from there, that's what kind of shaped me to be like, you got to be able to adapt to any situation. So it's like, they knew I was from the county, but I also wanted to blend in and interact because I love basketball. I want to be like you guys, right?
Yeah.
So I would do things where I would take like obviously when I made the team or whatever, I would like bring the kids from the inner city to my house in the county. Obviously we didn't grow up, it was middle class.
Yeah.
Right.
But like, I remember one time story, my man Lil Mackey, rest in peace, one of the best ball handlers in Baltimore City. I took him to my house when I was like 8, 9 years old. And we walked in the kitchen and he heard the dishwasher go, "Do-do-do-do-do-do," and he jumped like, no, because he ain't know what a dishwasher was. So that put a lot of things in perspective and it really grounded me to be like, look, it don't matter where you're from, like we're all the same, we're all exposed to different things. And I've always wanted to like blend in and like kind of like be camo and never make a kid or someone feel like I'm better or I'm less. And I think that small thing of being from the county and playing in the city, it allowed me to like adapt and be able to like, I can talk with the street dude, I can talk to the CEO because I was exposed to both sides. So I was able to balance that. So go from Baltimore, play in the inner city, I was always good as I could shoot. I could always like shoot. I had a basket in the front of my house as a kid. And one thing about, I would say most kids can't shoot. They can all dribble. Like everybody got handles because sometimes some kids don't got baskets to shoot on. It's like you might have a basket, but in the city, sometimes they take the rims down because they don't want kids playing outside because it's just trouble.
Right.
So all you got is a backboard and all you can do is dribble. Or at your house, you just got the sidewalk, you just dribbling.
Yeah.
You
Or
can't
you
afford a
playing on
basket.
milk crates,
On
something
milk
like
crates.
that.
So
Yeah,
like,
double
I was
rims.
exposed to have a basket. All I could do was shoot. My handle wasn't that tight, but like, I always say now, if you are a shooter, you can always get a job anywhere. So I grew up in Baltimore City, and I think playing in that rec center in Cecil Kirk, it really molded me to have thick skin because at any time you're gonna get a joke cracked on you. Like I have another story. Like I remember my man Big Travis, R.I.P. It's crazy that like every person I'm saying is like R.I.P. But that's Baltimore City.
Yeah.
And I remember one time, bro, we was like 9, 10, 11 years old, and they were like, "Hey, you ever had sex?" And like,
You said 8 or 9?
10, 11, bro. And like these little dudes is having sex, so I'm like, I'm trying to blend it. Yeah, what you mean? Yeah, man, that's sex. I'm like, 9, 10, I don't even know.
They feel like sandbags.
Yeah. And they like, you lying. What color is it then? I'm like, shit, brown. They're like, oh, he lying like a jack. But it's like, it's just small things that like you are exposed to. You have no clue and you're trying to blend in. Like, they could have been lying too, but it ain't brown. You know it's pink. You know what I'm saying? So they knew I was lying, right? So it's just like small things that I think, I say these stories because I think it helped mold me to the player and the person that I became as an adult. You know, from Cecil Kirk, playing in the city, I was always very, very small. Like I was a late bloomer. I was maybe 5'6", 5'5". High school, I might have been like 5'9", 5'10". I went to a Catholic school, private school called Calvert Hall. It was in Towson, Maryland. Private school, like in Baltimore, like the Catholic school is like good, but the inner city schools is great. But like Baltimore County public schools, like ain't nobody watching, ain't no competition. So we went to a Catholic school, Calvert Hall. Shout out Juan Dixon. He went there. I wanted to be like Juan Dixon. So I go to Calvert Hall. My first year I played JV. My next 2 years I played varsity. Sophomore, junior year, I didn't get off the bench because it was just like, it was stacked. I had a guy named Gary Neal in front of me. I had a Dwayne Pierre. I had a lot of guys, Randall, Jarrett, Woodley, a lot of people. So I didn't play. I didn't play till my senior year of high school. And mind you, back then, like if college coach, they watching you. Like AAU, they watching you. Like AAU, I played with Cesar Kerr. We were great, Nike circuit team, but I was like always the smallest guy. So I would come off the bench. Sometimes I started, but it wasn't like, yo, that's the starting point.
You wasn't the guy.
I wasn't the guy. Never. I was never the guy coming up in high school.
What was your mentality, sort of like sitting behind the bench for like 2 years? Like, was it something that you kind of like going into it? Was it sort of like hard for you in the beginning because you know you were a shooter? You knew you could probably put the ball through the bucket.
I think I knew. I didn't expect it to be easy because I knew like this is like you go into a Catholic school, like you know they produce professional athletes. They produce like guys going high level D1. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I always was prepared. You know what I mean? I always prepared myself for when my time was called, I'd be ready. You know what I mean? Because back then, you just want to go D1. That's like, that, I don't know if that's a Baltimore thing, but like, you just want to, it don't matter if you going low level D1, but if you Division I,
scholarship.
You made it, scholarship. It don't matter. So that's like always been the goal. So I remember like my senior year, I finally had an opportunity to play, and I played very, very well. Like I said, I always was getting shots. I've always worked out. I was always in the gym. I was a gym rat. My senior year, I played. I might have averaged like 19 points. I was pretty much the only player. They played a boxing one on me. Like I had to struggle to score, but like 1 year ain't enough to get you a scholarship. Colleges want to see you. So I remember after my senior year, my coach is like, "Yo, Jack, like you're a great player, but you'll be a Division III player." That's my high school coach.
That's what they told you straight up.
Mark Amatucci. That's my guy though. Mark Amatucci was a good coach. Like he was good, instilled a lot of like attitude, character, and stuff in me, but.
So when he told you that, do you remember like what you thought to yourself? Like, oh, this guy's tripping. Like,
when you're done with high school and like you got to think about like I'm about to go to college. It's like D3. Like the first thought is like, okay, maybe I am a D3 player. Then like you got to check yourself. Like, nah, I known guys that like have went D1 from here. My teammates on my AAU team have went D1. Like I'm just as good. It's just they haven't seen me yet.
Yeah. Right. And you practice some with them guys.
Yeah, so I know like kind of like. I'm there. I'm a little bit small. I'm like maybe like 5'9", 5'10", 165. My senior year, it's like I'm small. I'm a late bloomer. My dad's 6'5". Okay. So like he big as hell. Body, he used to be a bodybuilder. All this. Yeah. He had me on protein and creatine when I was. I swear to God, my dad, bro. This is 1996. My dad had me every day I woke up, bro. I had a protein shake with creatine every morning and with vitamins.
God.
At 11 years old, like my dad was like.
Training you.
Bro, that was unheard of at 11, 12. Nobody was drinking protein shakes back in fucking 2000. I mean, like 99, 2000. Niggas wasn't drinking protein shakes. Every morning I wake up, man, he was putting like cacao, magnesium. I'm like, man, this shit nasty. He's like, son, just take it. It's going to help you out. But it did, like, it prepared me. Like, I was getting stronger. I was lifting. Right. So, after my senior year, I played in this Capital Classic was a all-star game in Maryland.
Okay.
So, I had an opportunity to play in this all-star game, the Capital Classic, where, college coaches would be there and, like, prep school coaches would be there. Mind you, back in 2003, prep school was, like, a new thing. Prep school is, like, where you get another year of high school and you don't lose eligibility. It's not like JUCO where you go JUCO and lose a year. Okay. Prep school, like, you reclass, you become a postgraduate, and, like, you get, like, your 5th year of high school to play to colleges to see you. So I played in this Capital Classic game, and the first game is the prelim game. Like that's where like the local all-stars play. Like the best county players against the best city players or Catholic League versus city. And then the big game is like the All-American, like the best players in the country versus the best players in Maryland. Okay. I was on the first game. Like the best players in like the Maryland district. Right. So whatever, it's still an opportunity, right? Yeah. They give you the nice warm-up shirt, the jerseys, was sponsored by Converse back then. You got some you was feeling good. And I remember that game. I played well. I shot the ball well. It was my first time I tried to attempt to dunk in a game. My adrenaline was running. Bro, it's my first time ever like trying to attempt to dunk. Because I had dunked before, like in practice, nobody's watching. I'm like, it.
Did you try to yam? Like, what
I tried to yam that shit. Like, coaches is here. Bro, I swear to God, on the break, I tried to yam that bitch. Bow! I almost broke my And like it's crazy because when it happened, I'm like, damn, like it's over for me. Like
Right.
I look like a dummy. Like but it kind of stood out with this one coach named Raphael Chilius who was coaching a prep school, and he was like, I like the way your son played. He can shoot the ball. He's a great player. You know, we've got a couple other players from your AAU team, Caesar Kurt, that played last year. Would he like to go prep school? And like back then, you don't really know what prep school like. Prep
school was just now it's
it's
common
the thing.
now.
Yeah. But back then
it was like
it was never a thing.
Yeah.
Mind you, this is 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
So they asked my mom and dad like, would you be interested in going prep? And like my dad wanted me to like have the best opportunity to make it, right?
Yeah.
So you know, prep school it costs money too. Like if you're nice, go ahead.
And question: when you say make it, are you thinking I'm going to the league,
No,
or
hell
are you
no.
thinking okay? So you're just thinking
Just get to
D1
D1.
I'm
scholarship.
thinking D1. Like,
Okay.
the league is like not even like a
So you wouldn't even think about the league at this point.
hell no. I mean, to be honest, bro, like obviously you have dreams of like making it to the NBA. Like when I was a kid, I would wear like a jersey to sleep.
Right.
I would put sneakers next to my thing just to have a dream about what it would feel like to play in the NBA.
Right.
So I could just like see what it felt like in a dream. I did that all the time. I put a jersey on, I put shoes under my pillow, and I would like, please make me have a dream about playing in the NBA. This is like when I'm like 6, 7, 8, 9.
What's up, man?
So I was doing that, like I was just to feel it because I'm like, I ain't gonna never really make it, but at least I can dream about it, see what it feels like. So I go prep. I'm like, this is my opportunity to go D1. You know, we made a decision as a family. Like I said, we wasn't rich. We was middle class, and like I think the prep school was like 16, 17,000, and like to go to prep school, that's like a good amount of money to pay.
good amount of money.
But my parents like, look, my dad was like, look, Joe, we gonna give you a good opportunity to go prep school. Do you want to do it? I'm like, yeah, I want to do it. I want to get another year of high school so I could like try to get D1. So I go prep at South Kent, which is in Connecticut, Danbury, Kent, Connecticut. So I go prep school, and you know that was like that was the first year for South Kent basketball. There's actually a special on 60 Minutes talking about South Kent, the first prep school in upstate in Connecticut, and we had top players. Our player was Darrell Wright.
Okay.
Played in the NBA for a long time. You know, 3-point, led the league in 3-point shooting one year. Came straight from prep school to the NBA. Cheyenne Moore was like a top 25, top 50 guard. We had Jermaine. We had like all these. We had like 5 or 6 like high level like Division I players that were 100% going D1. Then you had me. I'm like D2, D3, and I'm like, oh well, shit. I'm with these dudes. It's my time to like really do what I can do. So all the coaches came to watch them. They wasn't like nobody knew who I was.
Yeah.
But that gave me the opportunity to get looked at because now they watching Darrell, they watching all these other players, and like, yo, who this little guard right here that can really shoot it? Right. Mind you, now at prep school I'm like 5'11", like 180. I'm bulking up a little bit.
I was gonna say, like, were you a little bigger at this
I
point?
bulked up a little bit, not like crazy, but like 5'11", 185. And like I said, I worked my ass off. Prep school is like you go to school and then you got practice.
Yeah.
And I was always in the gym.
Question, because you're known for your step back,
Right.
You know what I mean? You got your step back in prep school and high school, or that's developed later?
I would say my step back started like senior year of high school. I started training with a guy named Terrence Whiters, R.I.P. Lil T. His name was Lil T. Probably one of the best guards that I've ever played against in my life, like hands down. Didn't go to a high level D1. I think he went to like Loyola Chicago for a little bit, but he was in the streets. He'd rather sell drugs than he was making too much money selling drugs than hooping. Right. But like, I always worked out with him because he was a small guard. He might have been like 5'9", 5'8", and he had to move the step back. He would always get it off, and he could shoot the ball. He always had his elbow super tucked in, and that's how I always like worked to have my elbow like almost like OD
inverted.
tucked in.
Yeah.
Like that shit like hurt when you shoot. You know what I'm saying? So I learned a lot from him, and like I started developing it. You know, senior year of high school. Juan Dixon had like a step back too. I used to watch him, but I like added a little extra step to it. When I go prep school, you know, every coach is watching my teammates, and I started to get a little buzz because I became the starting point guard.
Okay.
At the prep school, like me, Darrell Wright, Cheyenne Moore, Jermaine Middleton, and Tavon Nelson, another guy that went to college at Charleston. So all our starting five all went D1. I went first year to Siena. My shooting guard went to Clemson. Darrell went straight to the NBA. Jermaine went to GW, and Tavon went to college at Charleston. So we had a stacked team. In prep school, you playing all dogs, all D1. So I go prep school, and like the season starting to end. And it's like you got to figure out like what you gonna do next. I had like Central Connecticut State, which is a D1. I had Hartford, I had Towson, and I had Siena. was like the 4 schools that were like on me that were like, we'll give you a scholarship. This is all D1 mid-major. So I'm like, maybe I choose one of these. I mean, we had this tournament called War on the Shore, which is like one of the biggest tournaments. We played National Christian, we played KD. Yeah. We played like the top dogs. You playing, these are the best
are your
schools.
Contemporaries too. Like these are the people you're playing against.
Right, you're playing the best players in the country.
Yeah.
I just signed to Siena maybe 2 weeks before. Mm-hmm. And War on the Shore is the biggest tournament, bro. All the top players, like I said, you got KD. And any top player is there.
Yeah.
And this is I had already signed to Siena, so there was no pressure to kill.
Yeah, you I'm going D1.
I'm going D1.
Yeah.
So this game, we're playing against a dude named, his name was I think his name was Eric Price, top 3 point guard in the country, was going to Memphis. He was supposed to be the biggest point guard to come out of prep school, high school, going to college.
Yeah.
And I'm this is a big game. I'm kind of nervous. This nigga top 3. I gotta bring I gotta you know what I mean? I gotta be ready to play.
I have a question. At this time, it's 2000. What is it? 2003.
This is 2003. Yeah. 2003.
So how were you in this time? The internet is big, but how were you? Were you looking at tape of other guys? You were.
Internet wasn't really big.
It wasn't really that big, right?
Nah, it wasn't.
So how would you?
How were you hearing about in those
because they had rivals. They had rivals with the guy named GD Sapito that would do the rankings of the top 50 guys. There were websites where you wasn't looking at highlights.
Yeah. No.
You were just looking at names. You were looking at Eric Price, number 3 from so-and-so, committing to Memphis. It wasn't, you couldn't see no film.
You couldn't build up hype.
Yeah, you couldn't build up. You just saw the name, where they from, they height, and what college they going to.
And then you just, whatever was in your imagination, you
made
up
that's Eric Price. He look like that. He got the box hairline. That's him. Okay. So you go there. And I remember before the game, it's the big game of probably because it's the best point guard I've ever playing against. We in the locker room before the game. My best friend Darrell Wright, we there, and we stretched it in the locker room. And Darrell throws a Powerade bottle across the room, just throws it and says, "Yo, Jack!" I don't know. I don't even know why he threw it at me. Probably just throwing me a Powerade, throwing somebody else. Yeah. Threw it. I look up, bah! Hit me straight in the eye, bro.
Oh,
so before the game, I can't. My eye is like this the whole game. I'm like, damn, this nigga really just I'm about to compete. I had already committed, but I'm trying to cook this dude. So I'm out there with one eye, bro. Mind you, Darrell's the best player in the country at this point. He's going to NBA. He good.
Yeah. Right.
So we go out there, but I'm playing with one eye, and I was destroying.
With one eye?
One eye. Cooking, bro. I had 25.
Imagine he had 2.
I was going crazy. So from that moment, I was you know what? I'm nice. I'm good. I'm prepared to take this next step. I just outplayed the number 3 point guard in the country. Nobody knows about me.
You remember how much Price had? Or
he might have had 11, 12. I was cooking. Bad.
I have a question. So I want to ask you, it's a 2-part question.
Right.
One, who in that era did you did you see somebody and you were like, wow, he's a lot better than what I thought he was? And was there a guy that you were like, man, I gave him too much hype, or I gave him too much credit?
Like I said, back then, bro, it's you didn't really know who anybody was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's one thing if you know a name and then you see a face, it's but then you didn't know what guys look like. So you see a name,
right?
And the guy that you looked at might be in the gym, but you never saw his face, so you don't even know what he looked like.
Okay,
so
it's different time. It was
you
different
you don't really know. You know what I mean? So it's tough to answer that because you don't know who nobody is until you actually play against him. When I play Eric Price, I'm like, yo, he's nice, he could dribble, he's strong, but he couldn't shoot. And I'm like, I could shoot.
Right.
And this mind you, it's 2003. I don't think to this day there's not really not many knockdown shooters.
Right.
There's a lot of guys that can play make, a lot of guys that can throw dimes, but it wasn't too many dudes that had a sniper. You shoot, you think it's going in. So mind you, after that game, I cooked so much, I had high major D1s trying to reach out who is this guy McClinton? He's a high major player. But mind you, you only say him high major because I just cooked a high major player. You never, but that's what I always say in life. It's it don't take a lot. People think it takes a lot to be looked at in business or whatever. It's it takes one time. I outplayed a kid that was top 5 point guard in the country. Next thing you know, I had every high major school trying to recruit me and get me.
Gotta be right one time.
Gotta be right one time. And that goes from basketball, business, life. It don't matter.
But you was prepared for
I was prepared for the moment. So obviously I could have opened up my recruitment because I just verbally committed. I didn't sign my letter of intent. And I thought about it you know what? Shit, I can go high major. Shit. Siena, I appreciate you, but yeah. But one thing about Siena, they played in an NBA arena, a huge arena. The guy that was recruiting me, He had also worked in the NBA a little bit. His name was Rob Jackson.
Yeah.
The head coach at Siena was Rob Lanier, another black coach that I kind of related to. And I was like, I was always been loyal. So I'm like, I'm going to Siena. They're like, look, you're going to be our starting guard. Like, come here. You're going to,
Right.
a guy from Maryland that played on my AAU team, Antoine Jordan, Scoop Jordan, played on the team. So I was comfortable with guys that I would know from when I grew up. So I go to Siena and I'm like, yo, I'm D1. You get on campus, it's like you hear, like, we D1 now. Like, this shit real. You know what I'm saying? But then I look to my left, first practice, I'm like, it's like 4 other point guards there. We had Albert Fisher he's from Jersey, athletic point guard. I had Tay Fisher, who was from upstate New York, was like all-time leading scorer in upstate New York. I had Kojo Mensah, who was like a brolic point guard. Yeah.
He's from the city.
From the city, like, I mean, this dude was like strong as hell, bro. Like, you get in, you can't score.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I thought I was going to be the starting guard. Like, I got 3 point guards in front of me, and I wasn't like a true point. I was like a combo. Like, I could shoot. I was a shoot first point guard.
And I don't know how it works. Sorry to interrupt.
Right.
So, you guys are both college basketball players, so maybe I need to ask a more nuanced question.
Right.
So they verbally committed saying that you're going to be the starting point guard. Are you expecting to be the only point guard? I'm sure there's other guards on the team, right?
Back then, it's my first time ever at college. Like, I'm thinking, you tell me, like, yo, you're going to be our guard, you're our guy. Like, we can't wait to see you on campus. And it's like, that's all I'm thinking in my mind. Like, yeah, there'll be other guards, but it don't matter. Like, y'all going to give me the ball first. That was not what it was.
Yeah. And there was other dogs, the names you named.
Dogs.
They were dogs, right?
Kojo, bro, when I saw Kojo, he was swole, dark skinned, like, he was an animal,
Like
bro.
a Debo.
Debo, bro, yes. Yeah, 100%.
What he was.
Like, you couldn't get the ball past half court against Kojo. I'm like, yo. So, I mean, my first like 9-10 games of Siena, I didn't get off the bench. I was just on the bench. So I'm like, damn, like, this shit is real. But like I said, I was always prepared. I was always in the gym. I always got shots up. I stayed after. I was just shooting. Back then, you ain't really have, like now at Miami, when I go to University of Miami, they got like 15, managers. Like, you got 4 people rebounding for one person. Like, we ain't had that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We had
shots.
one person. Extra work was by yourself, unless you had a friend or somebody that would like love to come out, which I was blessed to do. I'll get to that when I get to Miami story. But like, I was in the gym by myself. I didn't even think they had the gun out back then. The gun is a rebounding machine. So I'm prepared. I'm like, yo, 9th game. And in my mind, I'm like, we had this tournament, and I think it was at NC State. And we played like Pepperdine. We played high-level teams, and I didn't play. I'm like, man, like is this basketball thing really for me? Did I pick the right school? And bro, I swear, like on the 10th, 11th game, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th game, every guard got hurt. All the guards got, not like 1 or 2. All the guards got hurt.
Jack, your time come up.
Now my time is here. And one thing I always say to this day, like, I don't believe in time. I believe in timing. Like, time is a man-made thing. A lot of times we think, you got a meeting at 8 o'clock. You got to be there at 8. And then if you don't make the meeting, like you lost out on the job or whatever. Well, you never know. You catch the flat tire at 7:40, but then the dude driving down the street is the CEO of the company, and he stops it. Like, it's not about the time. It's about the right timing.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
true.
So
Yeah,
that's how I
true.
was, I learned that like later on in life, but like that's an example of timing. The timing, if I contributed my thought process and my development to time, I would have been a nutcase, because I'm like, oh, the time said I should be playing right now.
Yeah.
But like, it wasn't the time, it was the time. The right timing happened, everybody got hurt. And I was in the starting lineup. Our first game was in Youngstown State, in Youngstown, Ohio, and we played Youngstown State. It was a quadruple overtime game, 4 overtimes. So I'm like, I was playing 48 minutes. I had like 16, 5, and 4. I was dominating. Mind you, I'm a first year in D1, bro.
Yeah.
Starting point guard, we get a dub.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Quadruple overtime, like, and I always pointed out the quadruple overtime because it's like, that's like more minutes, reps that I got in that game. And then like we won, and then from that point on, I was a starting point guard for the rest of the season. Even when guys got healthy, I was still the starting point guard. So my confidence was at like the highest level. So I went to going getting 16 to getting 25, 30, 18, 29, 33, like going crazy.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, damn, like, but it was more of it wasn't my game changed, my mind changed.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I was always nice.
Basketball's a real mental sport, though.
It's only mental.
Yeah.
It's always mental.
Especially at that level, everybody is good.
Yeah.
It's the ones that mentally can be confidence and believe. Like, you got to have the right belief system. And I started to believe in myself because of the timing that worked out for me. Yeah. And then like I just took off. I was like MAC Rookie of the Year. You know, I was MAC Rookie of the Week 7 times. I was leading scorer as a freshman. Like all these things happened. We were having a bad year because we had so many. At one point, we only had 6, 7 guys on roster. Yeah. So after the season, my coach was like, "Look, they just called me. I'm gonna get fired. Like I'm not gonna be y'all coach next year." So I'm like, "Damn, like I came here because you coach. Like you a black, you a brother. Like I can relate to you. Like that's why I came here." He was like, "I ain't gonna tell you what to do, but like I'm just letting you guys know that you know." It's like the last game of the season, I'm getting fired. So I'm like, damn. So I called my AAU coach, Squirrel, RIP Squirrel, AKA Duty. Like my coach is getting fired. Like, should I stay? Like, should I transfer? I know you got a lot of other schools. Like my name was buzzing a little bit from prep school and then also dominant at that level. But mind you, back then in 03, it wasn't normal for like to transfer from like a low mid major and then like go ACC. That wasn't like
transfer portal was a thing back then.
Nobody was doing that. So. I remember my dad put a highlight tape together of all my makes, every shot I made, 3s, 2s, like it was just all makes. And he literally sent that tape out to every school in the country, like every school. So at the crazy part is back then, shout out Fran McCaffrey, who was the new coach that came in. He's coaching the Iowa. He's had much success, but I just couldn't relate to Fran. He didn't have like that. My coach Lanier, my old coach that got fired, was like cool, walk in, demeanor. Yeah. Fred McCaffrey was like, "Hey Jack," like stickler, like which is ain't nothing wrong with that. It just, it wasn't relatable to me, and like I'm about relatability. Yeah, like that's why you see now a lot of coaches are young players because they're relatable.
It's a players league now.
It's a players league. So Fred McCaffrey comes, I'm like, I'm going to transfer. He comes, tries to talk me into not transferring. Then what Siena did, they were like, all right, well, if you're going to transfer, you can't go to Virginia. They put like a veto on me. I can't go to Virginia, Maryland, Georgetown. It was like teams that I guess they thought I would go to because I'm from Maryland in the D.C. Virginia. So they put I don't know what you call it. They just said I couldn't go to those schools.
They could put a ban at that time?
Yeah, that's what they did. Yeah. Wow. So I couldn't go. Those schools were recruiting, but I couldn't go there. So my coach at Siena, Rob Lanier, that got fired, was an assistant coach with the coach at Miami at the time at Texas, like previous years. He was like, look, I got a player, Jack McClinton. He can come in. He'll be a good practice player. He'll get you guys better. He's not going to be a superstar, but like he's going to help your program. My dad sent the highlight tape to Miami. I go on a visit to Miami for the official visit. And my man, Rob Height, who was on the team, shout out Rob Height, took me on a visit in Miami.
You can give the details of the visit.
I'm like, bro.
A lot different than Siena College.
Yeah. What? Siena, you got snow up to here, Miami Palm Beaches, beautiful women, Latinas. It's all it's like a whole different
There's a whole
place.
Different
He got game shit. Like this shit crazy. Like, I don't need to go nowhere else.
Yeah.
And then mind you, go back to my best friend, Darrell Wright, who was on my prep school team. He got drafted to the Heat after prep school, so he was already on the Heat.
So your man's was already
my man on the Heat. He got the mansion in the Grove. He got his money. So I'm like, shit. If I go to Miami, and mind you, everybody like, bro, there's no way you can transfer. You're not going to play. You're going to the ACC. It's like big dogs.
That's what. So what I thought. So your mentality was like. So you thought you were just going to be a practice player if you went to Miami.
No,
like,
I didn't think I was going to be a practice player. I just knew that like I'm going to a whole nother level. Like,
Okay.
I went to Siena, didn't play. Like I'm definitely going to Miami, like thinking like I'm not going to play. Like I got to work my ass off and be ready, be prepared.
Okay.
They had a guy named Eddie Rios who was like Mr. Basketball in Miami, like lefty. They said he would be he's like he's a Latin Puerto Rican kid, and like Miami's Puerto Rican. Like he had the whole city behind him. Like he's about to come as a freshman. Everybody's like, that's going to be a starting point guard. Right. He's going to the NBA. He's 6 foot lefty. Like he's going to the NBA. Like you're not going to play.
Got it.
So I remember a guy told me that saying like they got Eddie Rios, like. Why would you transfer? You got to go there. You got a kid like Dennis Clemente. There's 2 Latin point guards. Like Miami is like they're gonna get behind the Latin, like the Spanish or whatever. So I go there, and mind you, when you transfer back then, you had to sit out a year. So you don't play.
So it's like a red shirt
year.
Okay.
So I transferred to Miami, and I will say this: I think a big reason behind my success at Miami is that I didn't have pressure to perform. Like I wasn't like 4-star, 5-star. I was a 0-star in high school. And in my mind, I'm like, if I don't play, my best friend's in the NBA on the Miami Heat. I'm just going to be with him at his games. I'm going to like be his manager. I was always thinking like business-wise, like whatever. I'm just going like, I'll be with my dog. I'm gonna be, and I was with my dog. And like I was gonna live with him in college, like in the Grove. And his man, he was my coach. Like, nah, Jack, you're not living with him. You're living on campus your first year. All right, whatever. But I was there every single day, right? I was there every day. So, you know what I mean. So I'm there with him every day, but I'm always in the gym because he's on the Heat. Like he's a rookie, so he got to be in the gym too. So I'm going to the gym with him, with the Heat, like with him, me and him just in the gym. I'm in after extra practice, like I'm sitting out, but like I'm in practice, like I'm the scout guy. So like I'm supposed to be when we play Duke, I'm JJ Redick on the scout team.
Got it.
Like just come off the screen and let it fly. So I'm already mentally and my body is turning into the superstar because I was always the best player on the scout team.
Got it.
So in the scout team, I'm whatever the best player is that we're playing, I'm sitting out, I'm that player. So, you know, this is my first time talking about this. I was already picking up that vibrational frequency of I'm the star. Obviously, I was just pretending to be the star on the other team.
But you're already in that position. They were putting you in the position.
To be that, but I was the scout guy. Because I was, you know what I mean? But I was cooking that shit as a scout guy.
and you go hard when you walk through that. So I'm sure people looking like, yo.
They was like, man, it's like, oh, Jack kind of nice. Like,
You see, what was the difference in competition and talent from Siena College to Miami? Did you see, was it instantaneous? Was it like gradual?
I think the biggest difference was the big men. Like guards are good everywhere. Like in the MAC conference that we was in with Siena, like it was a lot of great guards, smaller guards. You know, you in the MAC you got like 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", 5'11", 5'10", 5'9" point guards, shooting guards. ACC you got 6'5" point guards, 6'6" point guards, 6'8" shooting guards, 6'5" shooting guards. Like the bigs are 7 foot, can dunk and run and dribble. At Siena College, you got a 6'10" guy. He can't barely run.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a different that's the skill level, right?
Giannis running down there.
Yeah. So that was the biggest difference. So, you know, I'm at Miami, I'm on the scout team, I'm pretending to be the best player. And mind you, I didn't play, I was sitting out. Guillermo Diaz, who was another Latin guy that was like one of the best players that come out of Miami. I had Rob Height, who played for the Miami Heat. I had Anthony Harris, who was a great point guard for Chicago. So the year I sat out, I'm competing with these guys every day in practice. Rob Height went to the Heat. Guillermo Diaz went to the Clippers. So it was like one of those things where Guillermo Diaz was a sophomore and junior. Rob Height was a senior. So Guillermo Diaz left to the NBA the next year. So it was one spot open, and then Rob Height left to the NBA. So there's 2 guard spots open. Mind you, they didn't bring me to that school to be after my redshirt year, be the starter. That was not what it was. Yeah. But I prepared myself. But when that time came, I jumped right into that lineup, and I became the starting point guard my first year at Miami, in front of Eddie Rios, who was the great Puerto Rican Latin hype, Dennis Clemente, the great hype, and Anthony Harris, who was the big senior,
right,
that was about to be the senior, and he started with me, but I was in a lineup with him. We were we would switch from point guard to shooting guard because he was 6'2", so. I'm in the starting lineup. Now I'm like, oh, damn. I went from no scholarships in high school, talking about going to D3, go prep, get a scholarship to Siena, go to Siena, players in front of me, everybody get hurt, I start, I play, transfer to Miami, everybody bro, you not going to play. Redshirt year, I do well in practice. Sophomore year, my first year being able to play, I'm a starter. Yeah. And that alone is damn, I really
yeah, you persevere.
I persevered through the shit that
the belief in yourself.
I just believed in myself so much, and I wanted to prove everybody wrong because I was always a small guy. Jack can't go D1. He ain't nice like that. But all right, cool, we gonna see. So to go to Miami, my first year, we didn't have the best. I ain't gonna say we didn't have the best good team, but the ACC was thick back then, bro. Every day you're playing against an NBA player, an ACC back then.
You got Duke, UNC, and all
Wake
that.
Forest, you got NC State. Every day, it's a mob.
I'm like, yo, can I get an easy one?
Right,
please?
and Miami wasn't back then. Miami wasn't getting the top players because in the ACC, the top players go to Duke, North Carolina, Wake Forest, NC State, Virginia, Clemson. They're not going up. Miami is that's not a basketball school. It's a football school. Yeah. And even when we were going, fast forward, you got people coming on visits. A lot of parents used to be nervous about their kid going to Miami because it's Miami. South Beach, it's Miami. My kid ain't gonna focus here. I know him. You go to Miami, you go to Virginia, UNC, Duke. It's just ain't nothing there.
How did you contend with that being sort of? I mean, I guess we could talk about it as you
right.
start, but just handling what you needed to do on the court with off the court activities, especially with your dog being in the Miami Heat. And he's out too. You know what I mean? He's with adults too at that point.
I'll tell you a funny story. I remember my first year playing, might have been my sophomore, my junior, I can't remember. I think I was of 8. I think I had just turned 21 or whatever. And we went to a club called Club Bed. So that was the club. But I used to go out to the club with my friend Darrell. So when you were the Miami Heat player, you walk right in, like,
no, there's no
see this
smoke.
cool. But back then I'm like, yo, I'm Jack McClinton. I played, you know what I mean? Like, matter of fact, this is my year where I sat out. I wasn't playing yet. So nobody knew who I was. But like when I'm with Darrell, I'm like, you walk right in because you were the NBA player. But mind you, I'm trying to like dap the bouncers up because like if I'm not with him, remember my face, like let me in too, right? You gotta do that. You gotta like build the network. Like, yo, what's up? Remember, right? So you know, we going out with Darrell all the time. We going out, I don't say all the time. We went out, we partied, we had fun. And then I remember one time I went out without Darrell. And I'm good. Like they remember, I have plenty of time. We had spent plenty of money on, not me, but my friends. I had no money. Like, so I'm like, they got to know who I am. So I get to the door. They're like, "Who you with?" I'm like, I'm Jack. Like I was with Darrell. Like, well, nah, you can't get in. I'm like, what you mean? Like you see me, bro? Like
here 2 days ago.
No, you just saw me. He's like, no, you can't get in, bro. I literally sat outside of the club. Like I was like I was homeless. I was like, all right, I can't get in. I'm sitting right here, and I just sat outside the whole time, like.
Damn.
In my mind, like, all right, like either somebody gonna see me out here, like, yo, that's Jack or whatever. Never happened. And I was just sitting out there. And I remember that day I told myself, I was like, you know what, next year, I'm gonna play good enough, they gonna let me in anywhere. They gonna have to know who I am because I don't wanna feel like this. Like if you see me, let me in the club. Like I'm him.
Yeah.
And that was a funny story, but like when I didn't get into the Club Bed that one time, and I'm like, you know what? When I'm able to play, I'm gonna make so much noise that they're gonna know who I am. They're gonna let me go in the club. That was my moment to be like, I gotta cook these dudes.
You know what? But like, it's so funny because we all have moments in your life where you kind of have those type of moments, and it's funny how, especially for guys, sometimes like it's always those embarrassing moments around a club or a party that motivates you. I'm gonna get swole. Yeah, right. I'm gonna get lit. Like so they can remember. But that's just whatever takes for you to get wired. I think let that be the thing that motivates you. I am tired of people criticizing, oh, that's immature and stuff like that. Look, that was his moment. Let him do it. He's doing something positive now. Right. Let it go. But that was pretty interesting.
So so that was the day. So I didn't get in and then like, go straight back to the gym. I think I went back to the gym that night. I think it was like 11:30, 12. I went straight back to the gym, got shots up. And that's on my mind. Like, oh, you ain't gonna let me in the club? All right, bow, 3, step back, bow, hezzy, boom, boom, boom. Like I'm in the gym like playing games with my mind. To get me to that next level. So the next year I'm a starter and I started cooking it. I was like 14, 15 in the ACC.
Yeah.
I had a couple 25s, 28s, mind you. So now my belief in myself and my confidence is elevating. I got 3rd team All-ACC.
It's great.
Yeah.
The best
That's the top 15 players in the conference. And the ACC back then was probably the best conference in the country. So I'm like, damn, I got 3rd team? Like I'm on an All-ACC team?
Yeah.
My first year coming from Siena, like, so then, like, damn, next year comes. I'm like, yo, my belief system. I always say, a belief is nothing but a thought that you've been thinking for a long period of time.
Yep.
That's what a belief is.
It's true.
So my belief was, I'm nice, I'm great. I got 3rd team ACC. I went D1. Like my belief in myself was like really continued to like grow. So I go into my junior year, and like, I'm really cooking now, like fish grease. I'm 21. I'm just turning into 30 pieces. 30 at North Carolina, 38 Wake Forest, 33 Duke, like going crazy.
Yeah. Was there any difference in your training regimen, or was it just the confidence just got crazy?
Confidence, but I was making 1,000 shots a day. Okay. Not shooting, I was making 1,000. Yeah. You can ask any of my coaches. Like, I know I heard some people say that shit. Like, no, I was making 1,000 shots a day. I'm not saying I did it all at one time. I made like come in the morning, make 100, 200. Yeah. Come in after lunch, make another 200, and then at night shoot 600 and make it. Like I'm making 1,000 a day. Right. And when I'm working out, I didn't miss 2 in a row that many times. Right. I barely missed 2 in a row. Right. So when I get in the game, my mind was trained. Oh, I missed this shot. I'm probably going to make the next one. Right. Yeah. So my mentality was like, let that shit fly because I'm not going to miss 2 in a row. Right. And I think that changed my belief system in my shooting. Like in practice in my workouts, you're shooting 1,000 shots. Reps after reps after reps, and you're not missing 2 in a row. Right. My mindset in the game is I'm not going to miss the 2nd shot. Right. If I miss the 3rd shot, I'm definitely not missing the 4th. Yeah. And my coach was like, let that shit fly. The offense is revolved around you. So my junior year, like, did super well. And I had a humbling experience. I got into a shooting slump, and my coach took me out the starting lineup.
Damn.
So like that kind of like
He spoke to you before you.
he told me like, look, Jack, like you in the slump, like you ain't making shots. Like I'm just gonna, I gotta bench you. I don't know if he did it to like try to motivate me or whatever. And I remember I had a guy named Ed Downs who was matter of fact, the shooting slump happened my sophomore year. I had a guy named Ed Downs who was a trainer for Penny Hardaway. And he was training with me because I had met Boozer. This is a whole nother story. I even forgot about that. I met Boozer after my sophomore season. I'm like jumping around a little bit, whatever. So I called Ed Downs, and he was good friends with Penny Hardaway. Damn. So Penny Hardaway came in and was just like helping me. He brung in a shooting coach and like was just helping me like with my form. Like I could shoot. I was already a shooter, but I just needed some type of confirmation from some outside source that was telling me like, yo, ain't nothing wrong with your shot. It's just your mental, like get reps up, whatever. I go through the shooting slump. Shout out Penny Hardaway for taking his time and like spending time with me. I remember he let me do acupuncture at his house. I didn't know what acupuncture was. You know, I had needles in my body. It was all types of stuff I was exposed to. So, you know, fast forward to my junior year, I'm hooping. You know, going to my junior year, we were like ranked at like top 15 in the country. Miami wasn't never ranked like that high ever. Yeah. You know, we playing well. We go to the NCAA tournament that year. First time in Miami had been to the tournament in like 8-9 years. And our first game was against St. Mary's in Little Rock, Arkansas. St. Mary's had Patty Mills, you know, the guard for the league.
The Australian
kid. He was a freshman. I was a junior. I'm like, well, shit, this is my opportunity. Like, I'm in an NCAA tournament. I'm a kid that ain't no scholarships in high school. To now I'm on the biggest stage, NCAA tournament. I remember it like yesterday. You walk into the hotel.
March Madness, man.
All the fans are there. Dun, 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 dun. You walk in, they got cheerleaders. This is you walking to your room. I'm like, damn, this shit real. Yeah. So, you know, you go to our first game, St. Mary's, and I'm like, bro, like, I will say this. St. Mary's didn't put a lot of pressure on me because they had like a lot of Australian guys. There was like Patty Mills, who was Australian. They had two other guards that was Australian. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like I get confident when I'm playing a white boy. I'm just keeping it. I'm sure a lot of people think about that, and like it's not on no race thing, but it's like
it's
they just don't give you that same fear.
But sometimes when you every once in a while when you meet a dog, you're like,
you do.
You're like,
but
damn.
your mentality when I see a white kid, I'm like, I'm about to give 30. I'm about to
even
give
a layup line. You like they from Australia? Oh, I'm about to.
So my mental, I was always supremely confident, but I'm like, I'm gonna get off. Like, I know these guys can't guard me. Because you watch film, like, this dude kind of slow. Like, he ain't gonna be going at me on offense pretty much. Because my assignment wasn't Patty Mills. I played him some, but like, I never played the best player because I had to save my energy for offense. So I remember the game starts, and I told myself in this game, like, I don't want to force shots because I don't want to look like I'm just hunting shots and I start missing and like I'm like, let the game come to me. Like, if I got open shot, shoot it. If I got the open pass, swing the ball. That game, I had 6 points in the first half. I mean, that's cool for somebody averaging 12, 13. Yeah. I averaged like 19, 20 that year, or 18 or whatever.
So I was like below what you
usually. And it was like no threes. It was like 2 layups and 2 free throws. So it was like a weird but we was up. I think second half comes like I just called a group. I had 32 in the second half. So I ended up that game with 38 points. First time playing the tournament, 38 ball against Patty Mills, the Australian hype. Yeah. So I got so many, Jack, you was cooking that out. I'm like, oh, now you dick ride. Like, before you went like, all of a sudden, like.
First 20 minutes, you was quiet.
First 20 years of my life, you was not saying no, but now I'm on the big stage getting 38. And a funny story, mind you, 38 and 32 in the second half is crazy. Yeah. That same day, a guy by the name Steph Curry had 40.
Davidson.
So ESPN never talked about my 38. It was just Davidson hype has 40 points. I think they might have played Georgetown or some big team because obviously Davidson was a low seed. Yeah. So they had to play a top team and he had 40. Nobody on ESPN, none of that talked about, McClinton has 38 against St. Mary's.
So since you brought him up, did you hear about Steph at this time?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, like the top dogs. Like, know. I didn't like, obviously you know who he is. I'm like, I'm part of, I ain't gonna sit here and say he not like, he hype, he cool, but like when he gets to the big stage, like he probably ain't gonna build it because he playing at Davis. He ain't really playing no comp like that.
Nobody saw what this was.
And then I was watching. I'm like, this the dude had 40. I got watching because he had 40 on. Like it might have been like George. It was somebody a top team. I'm like, yo, dude, cold. And I was also hot. Like I had 38. Y'all ain't gonna talk about my 38. Right. So next round we play Texas.
Oh, that's a
That's
a
like
dope team right
that's
there.
big boy, and it comes full circle. My coach that I transferred from Siena used to be a coach at Texas, and my coach at Miami used to be a coach at Texas. So it's a big full circle moment. So we played Texas, and they got DJ Augustine starting the 1, AJ Abrams at the 2. Man, they had dogs. I'm like, yo, it's a different level. Go out there at Texas. I think I had like 17, 19. It was a tough 19 because my team, like, the scout report was like, stop McClinton. Like, we stopped McClinton, we stopped the team. So I have 19, we lose by like 4 or 6, I think. It was a close game. After my junior year, I'm like, damn, like, I'm starting to hear church like, yo, like, you can play in the NBA. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, it's like, it don't seem real almost. Because, like, I went from no scholarship in high school to now, people saying like, yo, you might can play in the NBA.
Forget that. You went from dreaming about playing in the NBA, putting shoes underneath your pillow.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, those small things and tactics that I did back then, it really allowed my vibrational frequency, the universe around me, the universe like, oh, he does believe he can be in the NBA. I'm not going to tell him how it's going to happen, but as long as he keeps going, the vision will become more clear.
Yeah.
When the timing makes itself right, the vision will be more clear. But a lot of times, people don't even start to dream. They don't even have the belief system to even think like that, to like, oh, I want to have a dream to play in the NBA.
Yeah.
Back then, I didn't think I was going to play in the NBA. I just wanted to see what it felt like. I just wanted to have a dream of like, I'm on the NBA floor and the crowd screaming.
Yeah.
But mind you, I was setting myself up for when I became an adult at 21, 22, like, chance to go to the NBA. So junior year comes, and people were talking, I got agents hitting my coach. And mind you, my coach, he had a great year. He wanted me to stay because, like, he wanted to keep winning.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, like, you don't want your top player to leave. So Coach Hafe like, look, you have an opportunity to, there's some scouts calling, like, you can play in the NBA or you can come back for your senior year and do it again. Mind you, my first year as a sophomore, I was third team All-ACC. They knew who I was. My junior year, I'm averaging 17, 18. They definitely know him. So if I come back my senior year, it's like target on my back. Like, you got to perform now. Like, it's like pressure, not pressure, but like,
you're the dog now.
I'm him. Like, now you got to really hoop. So my work ethic had to go up, And the funny part is, like, I probably did more partying as I got older because, like, they know who I am now.
Oh, so now you going back to the spot?
And I'm back to the spot. Yo, Jack, how many you got? 4. All right, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that is the stuff that made me also want to work hard because I don't want this to stop where they don't know me.
Nope.
Yeah.
But I would always be in the gym before I go. And then sometimes after I would leave at 2:33, I go back to the gym to make myself feel like, you know what? I didn't cheat a day.
Yeah,
I put my
that's
work
true.
in. So my senior year comes. My coach talked me into like coming back. I'm like, whatever, I'll come back. And I remember that year is when they first started, they had these Nike All-American camps. And Nike's a great business model. They create camps and stuff to bring the best players so they could like know who's about to be the next player in the NBA.
Right.
It was the first year that they had the CP3 All-American camp. Chris Paul All-American camp. Mind, this is like the top point guards in the country. It's like a guard camp. So it started like that. My coach was like, look, I got you an invitation to go to CP3 All-American camp. It's going to be the best guards here. It was me, Steph Curry, Ty Lawson, Tyrese Rice, Kalen Luke, all the top point guards. He goes, look, if you do well at CP3 camp, they'll extend an invite to you to the Steve Nash Nike camp. CP3 was like one that like they could evaluate to see the guys that they didn't know about to go to the Steve Nash, because Steve Nash was Nike.
Yeah.
CP3 was like a Jordan, like the same they tried to do on their own. Cooked that CP3 shit. Cooked it. Steph Curry that week, I cooked it. I stand out. After the camp's over, my coach was like, yo, like you did well enough, like you got invited to Steve Nash. It was called Steve Nash Skills Academy. Back then they had Steve Nash for point guards, Paul Pierce for shooting guards. So I got invited to the Steve Nash.
So you hype at this point.
I'm like, damn, I'm like, this is like big dog setup. I'm like, you walking by in your hotel, like it's the top point guards in the country at the Steve Nash Skills Academy.
Now, how is that
top point guard.
dynamic in these things? You guys like kind of competitive with each other? You guys not talking to each other? Like,
I mean,
is it
like-
talking trash to each other? Like, what was that? What was that like?
Obviously you compete because, mind, this is the first time, like when you're in the ACC, you don't play guys in SEC usually. You don't play, like I would never play like Kalen Lucas at Michigan State. Like I would never get a chance. I'm in the ACC. You may have like an off season, a schedule that's out of conference, but you just watch these guys. So then when you come, it's more of a mutual respect. Like, dog, I watch you. You nice. It wasn't like, man, like it wasn't. It was more family community. Like, yo, you nice, respect. But like when
we all dogs.
Yeah, we all dogs. So when you put all dogs together, you gotta respect.
Yeah,
right what I'm saying?
respect, yeah.
So obviously you go in the drills and like you trying to be the best in the drills. I do really well at Steve Nash Skills Academy. If you do well in Steve Nash Skills Academy, you get invited to the LeBron James All-American Camp. It's like the tiers: CP3 for guard, CP3, Steve Nash, and then LeBron James All-American is every position's there. Like top guards, top centers, top shooting guards, top point guards. Steve, this is all in the summertime. I cooked the Steve Nash Skills Academy. Coach said, yo, Jack, you got invited to LeBron James All-American. Now, this is like the top. These are the players that Nike, and Nike has an alliance with the NBA. Like, these are all the kids. If you play in this LeBron James All-American camp, you got a good chance of making the NBA.
Right.
Bro, at this camp, it was me, James Harden, DeMar DeRozan, Hasheem Thabeet. Like, any guy that you think was nice was at this camp.
Was at this camp.
LeBron was there. CP3 was there. Pat Beverly was there. I got a funny story about Pat Beverly at this camp. So I go to LeBron camp. Now it's like it's a little harder to stand out because you got every position. It's just not guards, point guards. So like now, like you got Harden who's like they hype on. You got DeRozan he hype on. You got other guys. So like I was like a small fish in a big pond at LeBron. I did well, but I didn't really stand out as much as I did at the CP3 and Steve Nash camp. So I remember we played 5-on-5, and I did okay. It wasn't like I wasn't cooking because I just had dominating players around me. Like, so then like you play pickup with LeBron, CP, so we got a chance to play against them.
Oh, nice.
And I remember one time Pat Bev, they were playing, we were watching them, and Pat Bev and Terrence Williams. You remember Terrence Williams that played at Louisville?
Yeah.
Cold. Pat Bev is guarding CP3 and LeBron. Mind you, Pat Bev is at Arkansas in college. He guarding LeBron like, man, you weak, you can't shoot. I'm on you, boy, you sorry. He's telling LeBron James this, bro, in 2008, 2009. Like,
He's already won an
That's
MVP.
even savage, yeah.
bro, and in my mind, I'm like,
But Pat Bev's always been. It's I guess he's
like
been
you're
consistent.
telling LeBron James that he's sorry. And CP3, he was bumping CP. He was hitting LeBron like, you can't shoot. Shoot that shit off. I'm like, bro, this is LeBron. This is like probably one of the greatest players of all time. But Pat Bev always had that mentality, and it goes back to the mental, bro. The basketball shit is all about mentality and perseverance. And you look at Pat Bev's story, he played overseas. He had to buy out his contract overseas. And he had the 12, 13, I don't know, year career in the NBA. But like that day, I knew Pat Bev was special for when I saw him talking shit to even if he didn't believe it, the fact that he at LeBron James camp talking shit to LeBron James is like, that's different. So fast forward that, I play against the top guys. And mind you, I'm going back to Miami like, bro, I done played against James Harden, DeRozan, Steph Curry, Tyrese Rice, Ty Lawson, Wayne Ellington, Danny Green, all the top dogs. Like, this shit about to be light. Like, in my mentality is like, yo, I didn't play against the top guys in the country. I'm not going to run into anybody now that is not better than those LeBron, I saw the LeBron, Steve Nash, and CP3 camp. So my senior year, bro, I'm cooking. Like, 20. I remember we had Wake Forest, Duke, North Carolina, back to back to back. Wake Forest at home, I had 36 in a win. Then we went to Duke, I had 38 in a loss. We lost by 2. Then I had North Carolina at home. We lost by 2. I had 35. So I'm back. These are all top 12 teams. I think Duke was 3. North Carolina was 5. Wake Forest was like 8. Mind you, Wake Forest had Jeff Teague, Ish Smith, James Johnson. North Carolina had Ty Lawson, Wayne Ellington, Danny Green. Duke had Nolan Smith, Gerald Henderson, Kyle Singlers, John Shire. All dogs.
Dogs.
And it's little me, Miami boy.
And that year you was first team as well.
Yeah, so junior year first team, senior year first team. So I'm cooking like fifth crews. I'm like, I came back my senior year with a target on back averaging 20. And that's not, usually you do it once, cool. You do it again, cool. I did it 3 times. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, yo, like the agents is all calling, yo, we got to sign the Jack. Like every agent, I talked to every agent damn near. I end up signing with Octagon. Okay. Octagon is a sports agency out of Maryland. They had previously represented Chris Paul, Rudy Gay. Mind you, I got MVP at CP3 camp.
Yeah.
He gave me MVP at his camp, so I had an alliance with him already.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I like Chris Paul. He gave me MVP. So if he signed with this agent, I feel good about it. Rudy Gay was my AAU teammate. He was also signed to them. So I'm like, two guys make me feel comfortable. Like, it's in Maryland, so I signed the Octagon. Shout out Jeff Austin and Lance Young, my agents. That year, it was me, Steph Curry, Sam Young, Wes Matthews, and Lester Hudson. We were all the new college players that signed the Octagon. We worked out in Bethesda, Maryland. Steph Curry was my roommate for 2 months.
Damn, wow.
Yeah, so that's how, like, it's funny how all this stuff happens. Me and Steph was roommates. Like, he was a basic, like a regular
dude.
Regular dude, bro. Like, he had his girl, Aisha was there with him. She stayed with him majority of the time. And, like, we had workouts every day. We would have to go to weightlifting in the morning. Then we would train in the afternoon. And the funny part was, Steph Curry never trained with anybody else. All his workouts for us, he had his own joints.
Really? He set it up that way?
I guess the agency was like, look, we don't want him. They knew like Steph was probably gonna be that boy.
Yeah.
So like we didn't train with him. It was like me, Wes Matthews would train together. Me, Lester Hudson would train together. Me, Sam Young. It was never with Steph.
Yeah.
You see, I see why he needed more reps. He's gonna be that guy. So training with Steph, we created a bond. Like we had a relationship. Good friend. Like I'm here and tell you, I talk to Steph every day. But like if me and Steph see each other, it's like, yo, Jack, what's good, bro? Blah blah blah. Right. So I signed the Octagon. I get invited to the Chicago pre-draft camp. When you get invited to Chicago pre-draft, these are the top 60 players that the NBA thinks are going to get drafted. So they invite the top 60 players.
Right.
So like if you go to that, you're majority of the time you're going to get drafted because back then pre-draft was only like 60 guys. That was it.
Yeah.
These are the guys that were probably going to get drafted. But back then in pre-draft, you never did no scrimmaging. It was only drill work. It was only like shooting,
like combine stuff.
Yeah.
Drill, combine, vertical, defensive slide, like the 3/4 court sprint.
Yeah.
So I had the fastest time in the slide, the agility test. You go sprint, slide, backpedal, slide, sprint, slide, backpedal. I had the fastest time in that. I was like number 1. So I'm like, okay, like I'm quick. So they knew I was a quick guy, whatever. So I go to pre-draft camp. I never had a chance to like play foul. I shot the ball well, obviously. So I come back, my agent's like, yo, we got like 17 workouts. I had worked out for like 15, 16 teams. Yeah. Everywhere. I worked out for the Spurs twice, which is the team that drafted me. My last workout was the New York Knicks. And it was me and Drew Holiday. Mind you, the Knicks brought me in because I was creating some buzz around the teams. Like, yo, this kid McClinton kind of nice. Like, bring him in because Knicks had their coach back then was
What year was this?
This is 2009. What's the running gun guy from Phoenix?
D'Antoni.
D'Antoni was their coach.
I'm a Knicks fan.
Yeah, so the running gun, like they wanted a combo.
Yeah.
They were trying to get Steph Curry. He had 2 picks. I think they had like the 3rd pick and like the 3rd and 29th.
No, we were right
pick.
behind. We got robbed. Steph Curry was the pick right before us. So wherever Golden State, I think they were 8. We were 9.
Exactly. So that's what happened. So that's the story. So draft night comes, and like you do a physical, you do all these things, and it's like they do any injuries, they do mental tests, they ask you mad questions. Like they know everything about you.
Yeah.
So obviously I passed through the physicals. My senior year, I had a wrist injury that I never got surgery on. I didn't have to get surgery. I was in a cast for like, I think 7 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And like I was shooting, I forgot to tell you the story, me rewind and tell you the story. My junior year, I had a cast for like the whole summer. But I was still working out. So when you have a cast on, it's only your fingers that you can only like pretty much grip the ball like this because the cast is the cast is bulky. So the cast is like out to here, like out like this far, and I can barely grip the ball. So mind you, when you have a cast on, your elbow placement has to be perfect because you don't really have that grip on the. So that year in the summertime, my form changed because I really had to get my elbow in, and I really had to focus on having my fingertips on the ball and have my hands straight. After that 6 weeks of taking the cast off, my form was immaculate because when I was shooting,
it was always
like this because I had the cast. I couldn't move nothing.
Yeah.
So when I started shooting, like my joint was like perfect.
Yeah.
So I would say like to kids, if you get a cast on your left hand, keep shooting because when you get, I was even thinking about coming up with a shooting machine that was similar to a cast because when I took that cast off, my because a lot of times guys aren't good shooters because their guide hand is either in front of the ball, they got their thumb on the ball, they gripping it weird, but that cast allowed me to not grip the ball, and I just had to hold it here. So my guy hang was perfect. Small story. But anyway, drafted, day of the draft comes. And I remember like yesterday, like I could have went to the draft.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be a first round pick. I ain't about to go to the draft and like walk on stage. I'm gonna, you know. So I'm like, I'm cool. I'm gonna stay at the crib with my family.
Yeah.
And I remember the day of the draft, my coach called me like, yo, Jack, congratulations. I just got a call from, you know, the NBA and some scouts in the scouting service. They said the Knicks are gonna take you at 29 because they want to get a combo guard. Because they wanted Steph at the early pick. They're like, look, if they don't get Steph with their early pick, if they can't get Steph, they're going to get him at 29. Whatever happened, the draft comes on. I remember the song was fabulous. It's like, it's my time. So I'm like, oh, yeah, it's my time. Like, remember, my whole thing is timing, right? That's my whole.
Like, oh,
and that was a song. Like, this shit is happening. The coach called me and said, I'm going to the Knicks first round. Call all the homies like, yo, we going to New York. You know, I love fashion. I'm about to be a millionaire. We on.
Yeah.
So draft comes on, first pick, second pick, third pick, fourth pick, fifth pick, or whatever. The Knicks draft Jordan Hill.
I remember that draft specifically. I did remember the rumors that we were gonna get you, and I was like,
Oh, really?
Jack McClinton at 29 at the end. 'Cause I was big into Sports Track
okay,
and
got
all
it.
that, all those websites
Right.
and stuff like that. And I remember being 19 years old. I'm like, all right, we're gonna get Steph, and we're gonna get Jack.
Right.
Jack is gonna come off the bench, give us that second unit scoring.
Right.
Steph is gonna come in, clean it up, and be like, yo, Jack, clean that shit up
Right,
for all
right,
of us.
right.
I remember being so mad about that Jordan Hill pick.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't care who we get to say that. So.
Right. So when they got Jordan Hill, I'm like, oh shit. Like, they didn't get Steph Curry. So like Steph Curry is not dropping to 29.
Yeah.
Like, so then the Warriors got him.
No, they got him right before. The
Oh,
pick right
the
there.
Warriors drafted him before.
They got him 8. We had,
Oh,
we
you had
got
9. You had 9.
We had 9.
Okay, yeah. Steph Curry was drafted before, so I'm like, oh.
That was a crazy pick because wasn't projected to go that
Yeah,
high.
he wasn't. So I'm like, oh, well.
Imagine Steph on the Knicks. That'd be crazy.
So I'm like, oh shit, like, he's right. I'm going 29. Like,
Right.
They wanted a combo guard. Like, I'm the next best thing after Steph Curry when it comes to shooting and combo guard.
Yeah.
Draft comes, 9th pick, 10th pick, 11th pick, 12th pick, 13th pick. My phone rings. It's the Knicks. So I'm like, oh shit, they about to like, yo, Jack, like, yo, what's good? You coming up? So I answer the phone. I'm like, yo. He like, yo, what's up, Jack? How you doing, man? Drafted, you feeling good? I'm like, when I heard that, I'm like, something don't sound right, bro. Like, he like, you supposed to be like, yo, Jack, you about to get you.
Yeah. What number you want? Like,
So he like, you know, we looked at your physical and your MRI. We noticed you had a wrist injury, and you never got surgery on it. It's like, it's healed, but you never got surgery. Like I'm like, yeah, like what you mean? He was like, we would have an internal talk. You know, last year we drafted Dino Gallinari, and he had back spasms, and he didn't play the whole year.
Right.
We don't want to like draft another player and him miss out the whole season. I mean, look, it could have been a cop out. But at the same time, you're not going to call me and tell me you're not going to take me at 29 if it wasn't something that you were going to do.
Yeah.
So they end up going a different direction, and they drafted Tony Douglas. Mind you, Tony Douglas was at Florida State. I played against Tony. I cooked his ass. No, don't get me wrong. Tony Douglas is a good-ass guard. He wasn't me, though.
Yeah.
At that combo guard, like shooter, sniper, that wasn't Tony Douglas. Tony Douglas is more of like a true point guard, defender. Could shoot it. He couldn't shoot it like me.
those were the dark days for the Knicks, man.
So they drafted Tony Douglas, bro. And I remember to this day, because in my mind, they were like, he told me that we're not going to draft him. Like, I'm still like, they may like still like call my name. 29 comes, they say, with the 29th pick, the New York Knicks select Tony Douglas from Florida State. And mind you, this is another part of the story I'm thinking about now, like Miami, Florida State. We never had good blood. Like, it's like, it's just small things. And now I'm thinking about like, damn, like they drafted a Florida State guy over a Miami guy that I was, you know, I played very well against him. I remember I punched the wall in my room, my old house. There's still the hole in the wall, and we plastered it up. But I remember I punched the wall, and I was just like devastated, bro. Because now, you know, back then you go second round, you know, your money's not guaranteed.
No, it's not.
These days you go 51 or whatever, you still going two-way, exhibit 10, you'll make some bread. Back then, if you're not top 30, you second round, you probably not gonna make no money.
Yeah.
So, you know, 31st, 32nd, 33rd, 34th, 35th. I'm like, God.
So now there's no calls. You're just waiting now.
I'm just
Yeah.
waiting. Ain't nobody calling. 36, 37, 38. Pat Bev get to 39, 40. I'm like, God damn,
Just cook
41,
Pat Bev.
42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. When you start getting to 48, bro, it's only 12 picks left. It's like, this shit dead. Like,
Yeah.
and then, bro, I remember the 49th pick, I got a call. It was the Spurs. I don't know who it was, or I don't know if it was my coach. Somebody called me and was like, yo, Jack, get ready. The Spurs are about to take you at 51. I had worked out with the Spurs twice. So I knew that they liked me a lot. And then go back to my story about the guy that I committed to Siena, Rob Jackson.
Yeah.
He was a scout for the Spurs too at the time. I don't know if that was
Yeah.
I'm sure he helped me out with it, right?
Right.
So the Spurs called me at 51, got drafted by the Spurs.
How'd you feel about that?
Bro,
Pop?
I mean, I literally I didn't even care about where I was picked. My dream came true. Like I got drafted to the NBA. Yeah. I remember when I got the call, I literally ran outside. I had on some lime green Air Max. I think I had underwear on and I ran outside, ran down the block, and ran back just yelling. Like I was just so ecstatic. Like I made it. Like I ain't gonna lie. At that point, like obviously I always wanted to make the NBA, but like I'm like, yo, I got drafted. I did you did what nobody else can say they really did. Like you have your name called in the NBA. Yeah. And at that moment, I believe when I didn't go first round and I went 51, something small in my DNA and my soul at my cellular level was like, I made it. I got drafted. Not saying that I wasn't going to work. I was going to continue to work hard, but I do feel like something switched when I didn't go first round.
Right.
Like I was still the same person, but something small changed. So I ended up going to San Antonio. Mind you, if you know anything about the Spurs, their model is draft you, tuck you away, put you in Europe, bring you back, tuck you away, take you to Europe, bring you back, let you develop. Like, it's like a farm system. That's what they wanted to do. That year they had drafted Nando De Colo, who's a big-time European point guard. And guess who else they drafted that year? Who got traded to them?
Who was on that?
Patty Mills.
Patty, yes.
Oh, okay,
He was
on the Spurs too. So it's like all these moments, like I'm talking about now, it's kind of weird to think about all these things that are happening, like experience that I had that are making my belief system be like, okay, I was right what I'm doing now or whatever. So Patty Mills was still like, I think he was playing in Australia or whatever, or something. Nando De Colo stayed in I think he was playing in France or something. They also drafted DeJuan Blair as well from Pitt. So they had four guys in the draft. So they're like, look, Jack, we draft you. We want you to go play in Europe. We have a farm system team. We'll send you to Europe to play, and then you come back next year. We still own your rights. So when a team drafts you in the second round, they want to keep you. They own your rights. They send you to a European team,
They're affiliated team.
They're affiliated team they have a relationship with. You play with that team, and then they bring you back for the next year to try to make the team. They had told me when they drafted me, like...
And mind you, this is during the dynasty.
Yeah, they had Tony Parker, Ginobili, Duncan, everybody was there. So it was like... They had Malik Harrison, they had Marcus Williams that was still, like... George Hill had just got drafted a year before. Like, it wasn't no spots, right?
Yeah.
So
this was dynasty.
When I got drafted, George Hill took me under his wing, because I was the only American guard that was there. So I was there the whole summer with him. He was playing summer league. It was me, George Hill, Malik Harrison. I went to Oregon, Stephen Lasme, and I think Ian Mahimi that played on the Wizards. He had a good career. That was a starting five for summer league. Like George Hill, took me under his wing big time. And George Hill's my guy, but I also think he took me under his wing to make sure that I wasn't gonna come in and try to get his spot. Obviously, if I got drafted the year before and I'm a rookie, I ain't got to let another guard come in that I know does something. His game is different than me. Right. George Hill was long, no body fat, out of control. Dope guard, great guy. Shout out George Hill, good guy, good friend. Shows love to me all the time. Buys my clothes. He's a cool guy, but obviously, bro, it's a business now. If somebody gets drafted, I'm a little bro you, Jack, and teach you the ropes. But
it's a business. You can take my spot.
Yeah, it's my spot maybe. So summer league starts. This is the next step. Now, Jack, you're in the NBA summer league. You got drafted. Now you're going to Vegas and playing summer league. You're playing all the other draft guys and guys that are previously drafted. They didn't make a team that are doing the same thing the Spurs are doing. I go to summer league. The great thing about George Hill, he's a big guard. He's 6'3", 6'4". And my thing was I wasn't really a point guard. I was a combo. So any team that drafted me needed to have a big point guard so that the point guard could guard the shooting guard at 6'5". George Hill could guard a 6'5" shooting guard. And even though I'm not playing point guard, I could guard the point guard that's 6 foot, 6'2", or whatever. So that was a dynamic. I come back from summer league and then have the great summer league, go back but I'm cooking now. Like, cause mind you, summer league is the whole summer, and then you have training, getting ready for training camp. It's like summer league, and then training camp, and then the preseason, and the season starts. So I'm doing very well, but you know, I remember Popovich was like, "Yo, Jack, like, man, you're playing very, very well. Like, keep it up."
Okay.
He's a man. He don't say much, but he told me that. I'm like, "Oh shit, keep it up, Pop." Like, we good.
Now, mind you coming back, and I think just so that we can
Right.
have clear the air. Are you getting paid at this point? Are you getting money? Like,
Nah, bro.
what's this financial situation right now?
You know, as a second round pick back then, you're not getting any money. They give you like a stipend, like for you can eat and get food, maybe like $150, $250, maybe like $100 a day or something like that.
Or
but it's
a
like
Whataburger twice a day.
Even accommodations, what's that like?
I mean, shit. When I was in San Antonio, I stayed in a hotel.
Okay.
I mean, it's cool.
Oh, the hotel. Okay. All right.
Hotel. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
like, obviously, because they don't know you're gonna stay. They're gonna put you in a hotel.
Right.
They have a driver that pick you up every day, take you to practice, whatever, and you get money for food every day. That's it. Maybe $100 a day for food.
Okay.
So it's like you're this time you're spending here, you're not getting paid.
Right.
So it's not like I can't start to build my career off of like I got drafted. Like it's just straight grind. You got to be in the gym because the payday is like, you know, later on. So, you know, I'm doing that, get back, I start to cook, and then I get a call like, yo, my agent calls like, yo, Jack, they want to send you overseas. They're going to own your rights, go overseas, and you'll come back next year to make the team. I'm like, nah, like I work too hard. Like I want to make the NBA, like try to figure something out. He's like, I tried, like the only other option is to ask them to release you, and then we find you another team to go to.
Right.
Mind you, I just said I was cooking. So I'm cooking, and when they asked to release me, they're like, nah, we don't want to release him. Like, let's tell them like,
your bird rights at this
yeah, they want my rights. So they're like, nah, we don't want to release him. Like, nah. So then one day before training camp starts, my agent calls me and says, hey, Jack, I finally got them to release you. I'm like, bro, it's one day before camp. I was still going to participate in camp, but I was still going to go overseas. Yeah. I would have been in camp with Tim Duncan, Parker. Like, that would have been a crazy experience. But one day before, they called me like, yo, we're going to release you. I'm like, bro, like, you going to tell me one day? I'm like, so where am I going to go next? He's like, I don't know. I'm on the phone right now. I'm calling all teams. Like, I'll call you back. I'm like, all right, bro, like, whatever. So he calls me back. He's like, I got you on. You're going to go to training camp with the Timberwolves. So I'm like, all right, cool. But then I'm thinking of the Timberwolves. I'm like, that year the Timberwolves drafted Ty Lawson, Ricky Rubio,
European point guard,
Johnny Flynn,
Syracuse,
and Jason Hart, who was another Syracuse. Like he was on the team. So that Syracuse, the Johnny Flynn and Jason Hart was a good connect. Then you had Rubio and Ty Lawson. It's like, what are we doing here? Yeah. So I'm like, whatever. I'll go to Minnesota. I mean, it's cold as hell there. Like so we there. Camp is starting. You know, I'm trying to like show who I am and like, but it's tough in training camp because everybody's trying to show who they are. So you got the main guys on the team that are on the roster, and then you got the other like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are like trying to make the roster. So it's like you're trying to like when you run this drills and sets, you're not in. So when it's your chance to get in, you gotta you gotta know the plays. Man, they ran the triangle, Kurt Rambis. Bro, I had no idea how to run that shit. So they run the triangle like, McClinton, get in. Mind you, like you look at one spot, okay, if I get in, I'm gonna play point guard. Like, McClinton, you're on the 2. I'm like, shit, I don't know what to do as a shooting guard.
Because the triangle's a rotating system.
So I ain't, so like when they put me in, I ain't know what to do. So like, all right, McClinton, get out. So I'm like, damn, like it was like one of those things.
You only get one shot.
You only get one shot. Yeah. Maybe I should have studied the playbook, but it happened so fast. That like you just you couldn't, and it was a short leash. It's like we trying to build our roster. Like if you ain't got it, like whatever. So we go training camp goes through first preseason game. We play preseason. I didn't get in the game. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll get an opportunity. Shout out my man Al Jefferson, by the way. Played for the Timberwolves back then. He like took me in on his wing, like invited me to his crib, made me feel like I was part. Like I thought I was gonna make the team because Al Jefferson was like, yo, like I seen you play, you nice, blah blah blah, something whatever. Mind you, it didn't work. First preseason game, they get called in the office like, yo, Jack, we cutting you. I'm like, damn. I ain't even getting in the game, bro. Like, what's good?
Jeez.
So I end up getting cut, and I'm going to Europe anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like I probably should have just stayed with the Spurs. I'm already in Europe. My first year I played in Turkey. I was making $12,500 a month for 6 months. Huh?
Dollars?
Oh, yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
Okay.
12,500. That's cool.
Yeah.
But it was only I was coming in like mid-season because the season already started. So I'm making for I made 12,500 for 6-7 months.
Rent is cheap out in Turkey.
Yeah, no, you don't pay for nothing. They take care of everything. No rent, no car, no nothing. You're good. So that was my first year in Turkey. I played well. We don't have a winning season, but I played decent. We didn't have the best team. Turkish league is big. Like you got Fenerbahce, you got Beşiktaş, you got Efes Pilsen, and you got a lot of top guys in the league. So
wait, not to cut you off, but at this point, are you thinking business mind? Like, are you making this? That's good money, but as an athlete, your career is only so long.
Right.
So are you thinking next step, or are you thinking I need that big contract?
I'm thinking I gotta get it back. I got guys on my team. He making $22,000 a month. So it's like he making $35,000 a month. Like, okay, that's some money right there. Like 11.5 is cool. Like I've never made that much money in my life. Like never. Like 11,500 a month to play basketball. Rent's free, cars, everything is good.
That's good money.
I'm chilling. But I didn't really have the mentality, let me put this away, let me invest in this. Like, but I've always been like even when I was in college, bro, like I used to stand outside after games and I created business cards and I would give them to like the people that I identified that sat on the floor. Like, oh, you was on the floor, I'm gonna give you my business card. It said Jack McClinton seeking mentorship. And then I would just like,
wow,
that's what's up,
someone called me back and I would just like learn from them. It wasn't about like getting money from them.
Yeah.
But it was
It's
more
after it's after 35-point game.
Some days you can say, right?
That?
You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's more about getting the knowledge of like how did you build a business? How did you become a CEO? How do you have $50 million and I play basketball, but you like me, you want to be around me, and I ain't got no bread, but you got 50 million, but you want me around. So it's like I was just learning so much.
I was gonna say people are at that level are always willing to have the conversations.
Yeah.
Like for the most part, people are willing to talk about their successes and the things that they've done, right? Because they're not really intimidated by the fact that you're going to try to take their position.
Right.
They're like, yo, I want everybody to eat, and I'm so confident in myself that here's the knowledge. Now, can you replicate the knowledge? Can you have enough sacrifice, commitment to this?
Right.
So,
and it goes to like, mind you, I'm the top player at University of Miami. Like any person with money is going to want me to be around them because they got kids. Oh, Jack McClinton is here. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just a good look. So on top of that, it's like, if you, that's why I tell the young guys now, like, bro, you need to network with these guys. You need to start talking to them because they will give you the game. And now they can give you money if you want. Like, but I always say, don't make it about the money. Make it about the knowledge. Like, get the information. So whatever. I'm in overseas. I'm making $11,500. My next year, it's the lockout. There was a lockout in the NBA. I don't know if it was the lockout after my first, or it was one of those times overseas was a lockout. So I ended up going overseas again to my second year. I played in Israel. Shout out Israel. I love Israel. Israel is my favorite country to play basketball in. I loved it. Like that was like the best country I've ever played in. The food was good. Women are great. People talk English. The coach was cool. Like played in Israel. I loved it. At that in Israel, I was probably making, I think my joint might have jumped up maybe like extra like 3,000. I think 14.5, something like that. Like it was cool, but now I'm 14.5 for 10 months instead of 11.5 for 6 months.
Right.
So great. I'm making 14.5 now, whatever it is. We were EuroLeague, so now it's different now. In Turkey, I was just playing Turkish league. Israel, we had a chance to compete in Euro Cup. Euro Cup, you play like the top teams in Europe.
Yeah.
So I'm in Euro Cup. I'm averaging 25 and like 19, 20 in Euro Cup. We played, I remember this, I'll tell you this story. This is a PJ Tucker story. I never told this story. Y'all getting all the good information, by the way. So I remember PJ Tucker was playing for a team called, he was in Greece. I think it was called Aris, Greece. It was a Greece team. And I had known PJ Tucker before just because, like, when he went to Texas, my coach at Texas. I think he had played in the NBA for a short stint, maybe and maybe not. But, like, we played PJ Tucker. That motherfucker was cooking. Like, he was off the dribble, posting up, like, crossing dudes up, shooting threes, all that. I'm like, yo, this nigga is nice. Like, he's unstoppable. But if you watch PJ Tucker in the NBA, you think he a bum. No, I'm not saying PJ Tucker, he's not a bum.
No,
but
he's a role player.
But the average NBA
guy.
fan, PJ Tucker can't. No, PJ Tucker is cold.
Yeah.
I saw him torch us. I'm like, he's on a different level. Right. You know what I mean? So, like, you get to play against top guys. I played very good in Euro Cup. We ended up didn't make in Euro Cup. We went to the finals of the Israel League. I didn't do great in the championship, but I had like a decent season. But I was shot hunting a lot in Israel because I'm like, this is my second year. I'm trying to get back in the NBA. Right. So I was doing a lot of shot hunting and didn't. And overseas, it's not about your points. And it's more about your plus minus. Plus minus is the amount of time you're on the court, how much is the team doing good? Like when Jack's on the court, if you have like a +9, it means Jack's on the court, our team was up +9 points. Oh, okay. If Jack was on the court and it's -6, we went down. So teams care about your plus. They don't care about how many points you score. You can score 30, and your plus minus is -7. It doesn't correlate. So they don't care about that.
That's why a lot of superstars in the NBA now, even though you have like some gaudy stats, their plus minuses are terrible.
Right.
Because sometimes there's shot hunting. You know, I don't want to specifically say any players, but there's some players out there that are such ball hogs that their team is not doing great.
Yeah.
Like
it's like that may get you the contract, maybe, but not Europe. That should it get you a contract, but you're going to keep playing at the same level, playing for bad teams and getting more money. But you're never going to like get the 75,000 a month or 50,000 a month. You're always going to be at like the 10 to 20,000 a month. Yeah. So after Israel, I played well, and then I'm like, it might have been a lockout after Israel. I don't remember a year, but then my third year I go to Ukraine. I'm playing for a team called Budivelnik in Kyiv. Mind you, you think about everything that's happening. You got the bombings and stuff that happened to Israel. Then you got the bombs and stuff that happened in Ukraine. All that stuff has happened in the countries that I played in.
Yeah.
I remember in Israel, bro, we played a team, I think it was called Ashdod. We had to leave the game because they had shot a rocket from Palestine and it hit like 2 miles from where we were playing and blew some shit up. Like, yo, we got to leave. Like, it was crazy. It was like a lot of stuff that was going on. Like it's just like, I'm like, you know, I need my money. Like, we're gonna figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So the next year, the rest of my life, bro, it's rockets being shot like 2 miles away from where you are. So then, you know, we play. I go to Ukraine the next year. We're in the VTB league, which is another. Like, it's not like as big as Euro Cup, but it's another league that's, you know, you play big teams. I played very well in that, and like Ukraine, I'm having my best year. Like, I'm playing super well. We do pretty good in the season. So after the Ukraine season, I'm coming back to the States, and the Miami Heat were like, Jack, you know, we have some players coming in. Do you want to just come in and like play pickup with our guys? And mind you, I live in Miami in the summertime, so I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, you know, they've been watching me. My best friend was on the team, like Spo. Everybody knows me. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, this could be my moment where it's like, now I'm a University of Miami Hurricane legend. Miami Heat will bring me in for just pickup games for 3 days. I'm like, I'm going to make the best of it.
Do they pay you for this type of stuff or not?
No, once again, they put you in a hotel. They give you per diem. You know, they give you like $250 a day or whatever it is. But I had made money overseas.
Yeah, you made money, so I'm just
so
curious.
then, like, you know, I'm in there for 3 days. I'm torching shit. You know, I'm like, because mind you, my belief system, my confidence, like, this is my moment. Like, I'm in the Heat. Like, they're rebuilding their team. Yeah. Like, I got an opportunity to make the team. Like, my best friend was on the team. He you know what I'm saying? I just had an opportunity. Like, everybody knows me here.
Yeah. Remember what year this was?
This was 2011, 2012.
So this is right before the big three got together.
Yeah, they wasn't that good when I had. I mean, this is right. This might have been like Ray Allen was on the team. I remember that. Right. Norris Cole, Mario Chalmers, whatever. So I'm there for 3 days. I'm cooking, and I remember like there was a story that was like they was telling because Norris Cole didn't really play pickup. He was already on the team. Like he didn't need to be up there with like the guys that's trying to like. And they was like, "Yo, Norris, you might want to get up there. It's a dude up there that's cooking, Jack McClinton from Miami. You might want to get up there because he's showing out, bro." Like, and in the next couple of days, like Norris started coming. Like
he's like, "Oh, I gotta see this."
Chalmers was up there, like, and I was doing my thing. So the 3 days turned into like 2 months. Oh, so they put me up for 2 months. Yeah. So now you got to think, when you're playing basketball overseas, the teams want to sign you right away. So when the season's over, teams are giving you offers, like, because they're getting the Americans. They're trying to get their Americans on the roster. Yeah. So after my third year at Ukraine, my deal flow now was $80,000 a month in China, $45,000 a month in Italy, you know, $30,000 a month in Spain. Like, now I've got to the point where it's like, yo, I'm about to make like the big bucks.
Yeah.
But then I got that, and then I got the Miami Heat saying, yo, Jack, we want to bring you to training camp. So I'm like, if I get to training camp, I'm going to make the team because I'm just playing out of my mind. It's a great story for the Heat. Like, everything was on my side. So my agent called me like, yo, Jack, I got $80,000 in China, I got $40,000 in Italy, and I got ACB for like 25 to 30. You want it? I'm like, what you think I should do? He's like, it's up to you. Like, I know you want to make your dream is to make the NBA. He's like, you know, if you want to make the NBA, let's try the Heat. Let's do it. If you want to make some money, I mean, it'll probably still be there. Like, don't worry about it. So I'm like, I'm trying to make the Heat, bro. I'm trying to make the NBA. Like, that's my dream. So
if you make the team, they have to give you a guarantee. I think it's the guarantee.
It's not a guarantee. If you make it, it's a guarantee. Yeah, if you make it. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going with the Heat.
Yeah.
I turned down $80,000 a month in China, but I'm like,
sheesh.
You remember what city it was in China? Depends.
The team was I think it was Guangdong Tigers. I don't even know. I don't give a fuck if I'm playing in fucking. I don't care, bro.
80K, yeah.
I could be playing. I will play in dirt for 80,000. I don't care.
8,000 a month, I would too.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot of money. It's like, you know, they probably make almost like 750,000 for a year playing basketball. And the China season is kind of short too, so I can come back. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna go to the Heat. They're gonna bring me to training camp. Like, I'm gonna try it out. So I stick with the Heat. That year, the Heat were going to China for training camp. The day before we're going to China, I never had a visa. You have a passport, but you gotta have a visa too. I never had a visa. So my man Kenny Mack, shout out Kenny Mack, worked for the Heat. Everybody know Kenny Mack, bald head dude, run everything in the lounge, takes care of all the communications, everything. He like, yo, Jack, I'm gonna take you to the place to expedite so you can get a visa because we're leaving to China tomorrow. So you got to get your visa. Like, so I get my visa. Like, I'm for sure. I'm going to training camp. Get my visa, come back to the gym, and like, yo, Jack, they just want you to wait around a little bit. You know, another guy named Rodney Carney was there. He went to Memphis, athletic guy. I'm like, why is this me and Rodney Carney here? I don't know, whatever. So like, yo, Spo wants to talk to you. So I'm like, all right, cool. I go to Spo's office. I walk in the office. And mind you, I don't know if this is like a Heat or a Pat Riley thing that he used to do. Mm-hmm. When you walk in the office, it's pitch black. And then there's just a light on top of the coach. So you walk in the office, it's all dark, and there's only a light on Spo. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of like weird. Like, what y'all trying to play some mind games or whatever.
Goodfellas stuff,
right? So I get in there, and the Spo's like, yo, Jack, like, you remind us of Eddie House. We had Eddie House. You're like a better version of Eddie House. You can play in this league. So I'm like, when he said that, I'm still like, okay, yeah, you about to tell me like, get ready for training camp. But then he starts talking, he goes, but unfortunately, we've decided to go a different direction. You know, we're gonna watch you, you go to the G League, we're gonna watch you in the G League, and then we'll probably bring you back. But I'm like, bro, I didn't turn down so much money. And now I'm going to the G League. Back then, G League is $1,200 a month, $1,300 a month.
Yeah.
So I turned on all this bread, and then all the deals that I turned down, my agent, like, they already signed Americans. Yeah. So now I end up in the G League.
And at that point, they're not really bringing up players like they are now.
No, it wasn't like that. It was still new. It was called the NBA Developmental League. It wasn't even the G League. Yeah. It was the NBA Developmental League. So I go to the G League, the Developmental League, and the draft comes. I think I'm like the 12th pick in the draft, which is cool. I get drafted by the Erie Bayhawks, which is close to Maryland. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'm good. I'm close to my family. They can come see me play. And then they like, oh, a trade comes. You got traded to the Reno Bighorns. Now I'm in Reno.
Not even Vegas.
Not even Vegas. And no offense, but it's like meth is in Reno. A lot of meth heads walking around. It's just a different vibe. Nothing against that. I mean, I support everybody, but like, it was just like different seeing that. So the vibe was cold. It was super cold there in Reno. Like, it's not hot like Vegas. It's in the mountains. Yeah. So like everything is different. And like at that point, I'm like, damn, I did all this stuff and now I'm in Reno. I'm like, whatever. I got to keep working hard. I'm the starting shooting guard. Garrett Temple was the starting point guard. I play alongside Garrett Temple. My first 3 games, I mean, I shoot the ball terrible, bro. Like, I'm probably like 2 for 15. In the G League, D League, you don't play good first couple of games, they're going to sit your ass down. There's another guy they're looking at to see if he can make the team. So I don't play the rest of the season. One practice I come in, long story short, I'm going to expedite this process, and I blow my knee out in practice on like just backpedaling.
Wow.
And then like, I'm not going to get into details, whatever. Career is over. So now I got to make a decision, like, do I want to rehab for 10 months, 12 months? Or do I want to just say, like, I've been through the ups and downs with the Spurs, ups and downs with, like, Summer League, ups and downs with the Timberwolves, getting here, boom, boom, like. And I made a decision after 3 years playing pro, like, for my 4th year of G League, I'm gonna retire. I haven't officially retired. Like, I still like. Yeah. I didn't do it. I'm using that retire thing as a media stunt for when I launch a new brand or something. I've officially retired from basketball, but I decided to give it up, bro, and I just stopped, and I just jumped straight into business and entrepreneurship. I always had mentors that was teaching me business. And, you know, I just kind of was like, I got to figure it out. And the sad part was I never wanted to do anything related to basketball and business. Like for me, like being a coach, being a trainer, I never want, because I could have been a trainer like back in 2013 and I kind of killed the game with that. But I'm like, nope, I'm not doing nothing with basketball. I don't need basketball to make money. So I kind of like jumped straight into business. I started a resort and swimwear brand called Loaded Dock. It was like a resort and swimwear brand for millennials, like Tommy Bahama, but it was more cool, more sleek. So I started that. I raised $40,000 with that. I did it, and it was cool. Like we prolonged it, but I ain't know how to run no business, bro. This is 2013. I didn't know how to run a business. Like I still have it, but like you know, it's turned into more of a custom business. But like
you got some fire designs. I got some stuff from you.
Yeah,
so
you definitely
did.
So it was dope, but like I'll sit here and tell you straight up, like if you don't have infrastructure in business, like you're just going to be in the same boat as everybody else trying to start a brand. I mean, mind you, now I have probably like, 9, 10 clients in NBA, NFL. I do their wardrobes, and it's cool. But like, frankly, it's not where it should be.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with admitting that. You know what I'm saying? So then I started another business called Active Dreamers. That was the business that like as a kid I thought about like put my jersey under my pillow and like dreaming to be an NBA. And I had the idea of like, okay, when you go to sleep, that's when you dream. Like, how can I incorporate NBA players' talent dreams with home decor? Because home decor was a space where it's like nobody was in.
Yeah.
So I just had an idea. I'm like, look, what if I put like the NBA player's face on the pillow and then put their body on the blanket so when the kid go to sleep, they look like Steph Curry. I put like a dream bag on the blanket. So I started that in 2016, partnered with Steph Curry. He's a sweat equity partner. Went good, but mind you, the thing with that is you have to pay licensing fees. Yeah. Like you just can't like get the NBA and just do it. The licensing fee, when you sign an NBA deal with licensing, they give you a 3-year deal. So I signed my first 3-year deal with the NBA, and then you have to do a deal with the NBPA. The NBA owns the rights to the players. The NBA owns the rights to the teams and the coaches and the NBA logo. The NBPA owns the rights to the players. So you got to pay 2 separate licensing fees.
Oh, man.
So year 1, I had to pay a lot of money to the NBA and a lot of money to the PA. Which was a lot of money to just be, I raised a lot of money to do it.
Right.
And I had 2 guys working for me. I had a CMO. I had a guy that was my designer. But like, I still didn't understand the infrastructure and distribution. I was trying to hold on to equity. And like, I had opportunities to do big time partnerships with like big time heads of TNT, heads of like Disney and all that. I could have dealt with Chris Paul. I could have did these big deals. But anybody listening right now, like, I wanted to own it. I wanted to own all the equity. I didn't want to give 20% away to somebody that wasn't giving me a ton of money and that was saying I could get you in all these stores, I can get you distribution. I was like, nope. I got Steph Curry, sweat equity partner. He posting about it. Like, I'm not giving that up. And fast forward into today, I think the biggest thing with business is that you have to be, for a long time, I didn't want to like admit that like I probably made the wrong decisions with, I probably should have partnered with CP3 and Bob Iger and Disney. I'm not gonna say they wanted a certain. I probably should have did that, but I didn't.
Right.
And now, like you look back at it, like, damn, I probably should have did that deal. But these are all things as a CEO that you learn. Like, bro, I didn't go to school for being a CEO.
Yeah.
There's so many things that you go through, bro. Like, I've learned so much. So at this phase in my life, I'm doing a huge pivot with Active Dreamers. I got some new stuff coming, like the next like 90 days that I'm not gonna like. I'm just gonna reveal it. I'm letting you guys know, like, it's not home decor. It's something that I've always loved, and that I feel confident in that is gonna like shake up the industry. And I'm not gonna.
You gotta watch. You gotta tune in.
You just gotta tune in. But like, I've learned so many things in business, bro. Like, you gotta have infrastructure. You can't be greedy and you gotta give it away, bro. If somebody wants 25% of your business and they say I can make you $5 million, you give it to them. And if someone offered me 20%, like a Bob Iger and a Chris Paul, and they wanted 20% of the business, and like it wasn't at the valuation that they wanted it, I'm like, do it, because now you're building infrastructure.
Yeah.
You're building a team around you. Yeah. I thought I could do it on my own, and I couldn't. And now you fast forward to now, like I'm still like figuring out the team infrastructure. Like I'm doing enough to be sustained and like I'm making money, but it's like not enough to like You got investors, bro. I've raised a lot of money. Your investors need their bread back. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where a lot of my investors are like friends of mine, like basketball players that understand the grind. Like a lot of startups don't work. But one thing I've always believed is like it's not about where you start, it's about where you stop. And I'm never going to stop. I will never stop. Because I know that I'm special. I believe that I'm special. That I know that it's no such thing as time. It could take me 15 years.
It's true.
But going back to what I said about Sienna, all it takes is one. And life could change.
That's it.
So that's how I look at stuff in business now. Like, it's a lot of pressure. Like, I get calls from investors now, like, yo, Jack, what's up, bro? It's been a certain amount of years. Like, what you gonna do? Where my money at, bro? Like, what you doing? I'm like, I'm working, bro. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm building. Like, this shit ain't easy. I jumped into this, and I'm ready for it. Just like I jumped into basketball. Like, it took me, I started playing basketball at 6 years old. I didn't really reap the benefits of basketball until I'll say the highest point in basketball was at University of Miami when I got my, best player. That's 6 years old playing, and I'm 22 in college. That's 16 years. So it took me 16 years to reach the highest level in basketball with something that I knew I did my whole life.
Yeah.
So now I'm jumping into business in 2000. Oh, it's crazy. In 2016,
Right.
and it's been 8 years, and I'm still figuring it out. I've had certain things that I thought were going to be the one. Like I had to deal with Neymar Jr. It didn't work out the way I thought it was. I invested a lot of money in it. It didn't work out. And then from that deal, it really taught me to say, it is about making money in business, but every deal you do can't be about the money.
Nope.
And that's, I was so like, got to get my investor money back. This is the deal that's going to make me $5 million or $3 million, whatever it is. But I was making everything about the money instead of making it about the relationship, building the infrastructure, building the data, getting the emails, get like all that. I was like, so I learned so much. So now in this phase of year 8 from 2016 to 24, like now it's like the next 8 years, the next 4 years, I understand how I can shake and move and make the right decision. And now like, don't nobody want to be a part of Active Dreamers. Like, I don't have the NBA license. I don't do it anymore because I was just paying too much in licensing fees, too much in royalty fees. Yeah. And like, if you don't got distribution and like, it's just a whole lot. I could go back and get that license if I wanted, but like infrastructure wasn't set. Now I've rebuilt, I've rebranded. Like it's a lot of, in 90 days, you're going to see like it's going to be a total different thing. But I started to tell you on this podcast, like if you're chasing money in the business, you're going to continue to chase money. Just think about the word chase money. If this is money and I'm chasing it, I'm just chasing it. If you're not getting the knowledge and learning about the infrastructure and building the right team, like I couldn't play basketball without my team. Sure. I thought in business I could do it on my own, but that's the wrong infrastructure.
Yeah.
So, to this day, like I'm building now. I'm excited about what's to come in the next, 2 to 4 years. I'm excited about what happens in the next 90 days, but I had to learn so much and go through so much in business, the ups and downs, being high and low, having nothing, trying to pivot and figure it out. Like as an entrepreneur, bro, it's never going to be all the way high. It'll never be all the way low. You just got to ride that wave and you got to keep believing in yourself. You got to have perseverance and your belief system has to be, I know.
Yeah.
I know I can do this. It can't be, I think I can do this. Because that small thing of like thinking, I always say, you think about the terminology of think, T-H-I-N-K, and you think about the terminology of think, T-H-A-N-K, they sound the same, but they're so different.
Yep.
Anytime you think about something, your mind, you start overcoming thoughts. And you start thinking about stuff that's probably it's not even there. You're just overthinking.
Yeah.
But when you're thankful for things, it makes life so much easier. Like I wake up every day and do 10 things I'm thankful for. And that thankfulness, it switches your vibrational frequency. The gratitude switches everything around you and it makes everything so light. When you start thinking about things, it's just so much pressure and everything's so heavy. Being thankful, it releases the pressure because I'm thankful that I can brush my teeth. I'm thankful that I'll have an apartment or I have a building that I live in. I have a house, whoever you are, whatever you have. I'm thankful I have a car. I'm thankful I have a fiance. I'm thankful I have a family. I'm thankful I have shoes. And like you start to think like, damn, like there's people out there that don't have none of this.
Yeah.
So it makes things so much lighter. And that's helped me so much in business about not putting so much pressure. And to revert back to my basketball game, I never had pressure. until I got to the league and I didn't make it because I had too much pressure. In college, no pressure. I was at the highest level and I made it at the highest level because there was no pressure. So business is basketball. Basketball is business. The pressure is the thing that will, it just, they say pressure busts pipes. It does.
Yeah.
Pressure busts lives too.
It does.
You put too much pressure on yourself, bro, it's over. I think the best way to deal with pressure in business is just to be thankful and be in the attitude of gratitude.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that so much, Jack. Man, you have an amazing story. Honestly, when we're doing with the Last Flight Out podcast, you're the personification of that.
Right.
Because you've taken so many different pivots in your life. And look, you're still standing tall.
Right.
You're doing well. You're doing great for yourself. There's still more to come. You're not, you're content probably, but you're not complacent or
Right.
satisfied. And, we appreciate your time here today. And why you don't tell the audience where they can find you?
Yep.
I mean, they obviously in 90 days, you can't,
Right.
you're going to reveal everything
Right.
you have. But
yeah, you can find me at Manifest McClinton on Instagram, Active Dreamers on Instagram. There's nothing on that page right now because I'm waiting. It's a rebrand. Like, this is something that I truly believe in that I think is going to change the trajectory of my life, my investor's life, my business life, all that. And then you can follow me at Loaded Doc RS, which is my clothing line. If you need everything I got on, I wear, 100% silk, flare pants, kimono, something different. So for me, it's just like I said earlier, it's not about where you stop. It's not about where you start. It's where you stop. Most people say it's not about where you stop, it's where you finish. No, you're never finished.
you're never finished.
Yeah.
The shit goes on and on and on and on. When you decide to stop, that's when you finish.
We were talking about that earlier today.
Yeah. You're never finished till you stop. So you can't say it's not about where you stop. It's not about where you start, it's where you finish because you're never finished. There is no finish line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as you do one or just, it goes, you're going to want to do another. It's just when you stop, that's when you're finished. And that's the weird part about the ideology, the terminology of stop and finish. Like, when you finish, you think it's over.
Yeah.
It's not over when you finish. You got another race to run.
Yeah.
But when you stop, it's over.
Yeah.
It's true.
So
thanks everyone for tuning in again. You know the drill by now. Like this video, share the video, give us a follow on our YouTube channel, and give us a follow across all of our social media channels at Last Fight Out Podcast. I'm your host, Jay. You can find me at JLubriel26, and you can find Mike at.
If Mike was here.
Thanks a lot for tuning in. Peace, everybody. See
Peace.
everybody next week, same time, same place.
peace.
Thank you.
Oh.
That was dope,
Appreciate
man.
that, man.
My life too prestige.
Man, you didn't have to do them like that, man. You didn't have to do them like that.
It was film day.
Yeah.
We gotta make a statement.
Exactly. We gotta make a statement. Last
What's
one
going
out.
on, man?
Flat out.